They've met once before this season, the Polar Bears claiming an 8-5 win in Boston. Tonight, the rematch in Brunswick. Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Beninati, alongside of Mitch Price, Bowdoin College's Sports Information Director, and we welcome you to this evening's Casco Cable live Bowdoin College Polar Bear Hockey. The Polar Bears entertaining the UMass Boston Beacons. And Mitch, tonight coming in, the Polar Bears struggling in a building where they very rarely have problems, perhaps some youngsters playing on defense.
Well, the Polar Bears, you mentioned struggling. 2 losses this weekend, the first time that's happened to divisional opponents since back in 1974. So they are struggling, and they've been going with 2 freshman netminders the majority of the season. Tonight, a surprise starter, Bruce Wilson, senior goaltender, getting the call from Terry Mahar. His first action as a starter goaltender in his Bowdoin career. Played only 16 minutes this year, so we'll see how he performs.
Bruce Wilson gets the call tonight for the Polar Bears. He'll be matched against Billy O'Brien. When we return, we'll have the opening face-off tonight. You're watching Bowdoin College Polar Bear Hockey on Casco Cable, Channel 13.
Poland snow throwers. Still handcrafted and cast iron tough. So go ahead, take the Boland's Performance Challenge and check out the complete line of snow throwers. Backed by the best warranty in the business, these cast iron tough snow throwers offer easy payment terms and prices as low as $3.99. So go ahead, take the Boland's Performance Challenge.
Available at Bowdoin Lawn and Tractor, Lewiston Road, Topsom. Watch Halftime at Denelli's, Sunday nights at 7 o'clock, here on Cable 13. A new live call-in sports talk show with host Brian Hatch. This week's guest, Dave Bork, sports reporter for the Times Record. Watch Halftime at Denelli's on Cable 13.
Domino's Pan Pizza. Nobody delivers better.
The Polar Bears coming into tonight's action, a record, Mitch Price, that is somewhat unbecoming for a Polar Bear team, but certainly not disrespectful.
Well, they're 9-7-1 overall, 8-4-1 in the ECAC East, and definitely not disrespectful in any sense of the word. They're currently sitting in 3rd place in the ECAC East, top 4 spots, of course, getting the home ice in the opening round of the playoffs. So, as of right now, you have to be happy with where the Polar Bears are sitting in the league standings, but I think maybe some people a little uneasy about their play as of late. 2-4-1 in their last 7 games, 4-6-1 in their last 11 games after starting 5-1 on the year.
A team that always seems to get started very well. Terry Mahar gets his charges ready to go quite early, and they come out of the gate very quickly, struggling of late, as we mentioned, but I think it's the sort of thing where the younger players on defense are beginning to gel, and I think you're seeing the Jimmy Clapmans starting to play extremely well and garner a lot of ice time, I think, from the head coach.
Well, I know Terry Mahar has been very impressed by the play of freshman defenseman Jim Clapman. Ray Diffley as well, drawing some praise from Coach Mahar back on the blue line, and it's been a tough job coming in with 3 freshman defensemen in front of the freshman goaltenders. But right now we're looking at Bruce Wilson, senior netminder, been in the Polar Bear program for 4 years, getting his first starting assignment tonight. We mentioned in the opening, playing only 16 minutes so far this year, but I think Coach Mahar wanted to give him a chance. I know assistant coach Joe King before the game saying it's time. It's Bruce Wilson's turn to get a chance to play here, and a big night for the senior goaltender.
Definitely a big night as he comes in from Bloomington, Minnesota, getting his first call. There you take a look at one of the backup goaltenders this evening, Alex Delvecchio, scraping for goaltender Billy O'Brien. And Bill O'Brien came in and did some fill-in work down on the last time these 2 teams met in the Boston Harbor campus. The Polar Bears well out in front, and then O'Brien comes in and plays a solid 3rd period.
Third period, an excellent period for the UMass Beacons. The teams had a little scuffle between periods 2 and 3 as they went to the dressing room, and that seemed to inspire the Beacons as they came out in the 3rd period. Tied the score up at 5 before freshman Mark McLean for the Polar Bears able to win it with just 2:14 left in the game, his game-winning goal, and Brad Chin adding an empty net goal, giving him the 7-5 advantage.
UMass Boston Beacons now being introduced to the Bowdoin College Dayton Arena crowd tonight. Starting at the points, Billy Higgins and Dave O'Connor, and up front, a line that has done extremely well for Bill Stewart. Brian Ward, Charles Plaza, and Larry Movsession. And Movsession just coming out there. Now this Charles Plaza. And the Beacons never have any trouble scoring, Mitch. They often are among the league leaders in goals for. Their trouble has always been keeping the puck out of the net.
And head coach Bill Stewart been juggling his goaltenders this year. 3 netminders seeing action for him. The starter tonight, O'Brien, but Del Vecchio and Tom April also seeing action. April has played in their last 3 games, and interestingly enough, 4 of their last games have been overtime contests, with the Beacons going 3 ties and a loss in those last 4 games.
We mentioned the promising young freshman. There he is, Jim Clapman, joined by Ray Diffley tonight at the blue line. Terry Mahar, as he is wont to do, he finds a freshman among that freshman talent pool that comes in, and boy, that man takes a lot of ice time during the season. This year it has been Jim Clapman. Jeff Wood getting a call. Kurt Liebeck up front will join Jeff Wood, and the winger, co-captain Mike Cavanaugh, also getting a start tonight. And as we mentioned, as we detailed for you in our opening, it'll be Bruce Wilson between the pipes. Just 16 minutes all season long, but a big opportunity for Willie tonight, and I know everybody's wishing him the best.
Well, and I'm sure he's very excited, probably a little nervous right now, but I think get the first shot under his belt and he'll settle down.
Okay, we're going to take a short step aside and allow Bowdoin College's Many Bemsters to sing our national anthem. We'll honor America with them as they sing. Well done. Mitch Price alongside Joe Beninati tonight, yours truly, as we call action in the first period of play. Bowdoin College's Dayton Arena, the side Bowdoin College Polar Bear Hockey on Casco Cable Channel 13. Glad you've joined us tonight as we call action in period number 1. The UMass Boston Beacons on the road. Record of 7-9-2 in the ECAC East-West. They wear their road blues trimmed in gold and white. The Polar Bears will go right to left. The home whites trimmed in silver and black. And Mitch, what has been the problem the past weekend? A couple of losses to Middlebury and to Norwich in particular, perhaps keeping some people home out of the stands tonight. Very quiet crowd here in Dayton.
The first Tuesday night home game of the year, and you're right, a very sparse crowd at this point. And Polar Bears running into a couple hot goaltenders this weekend. Dino Daphniotis of the Norwich Cadets, ECAC goaltender of the week 2 weeks ago. Before he came into the Polar Bear game, he had just defeated this UMass Boston Beacon team by a 6-1 score, defeated Union 4-1. And then Brent Trouchon, the ECAC Rookie of the Year last year, came in and played a fine game for the Panthers on Saturday afternoon. So hot goaltending has been one of the problems, I think, for the Polar Bears.
Goaltending the key tonight. Bruce Wilson in the pipes to our right, Billy O'Brien. The goal to our left, just about set for our opening faceoff. Charles Plaza digging in against Jeff Wood, and we're underway. Controlling at the center ice red line, sending it in, it's Billy Higgins. Ray Diffley playing at the Mariner blue line, joined there by Jeff Wood, and finally it squirts to Diffley. Diffley, a lead ahead, intercepting the play there was Movsession. Cavanaugh bumped by Higgins, but not before he dumps it in. There's O'Brien, his first play of the puck, winds it around. Kept in, right point, Clapman. Big drive, goes wide on the short side. Peeling back to play, it's Movsession. Movsession finding his defense partner, Dave O'Connor. O'Connor returns for Higgins. Higgins a right wing lead, and away they'll come. This is Movsession, bothered there by Liebeck. just inside 40 seconds played. We're tied at 0 in the Bowdoin College Dayton Arena. The Polar Bears entertaining the UMass Boston Beacons. Jeff Woods, lead feed for Kavanaugh, doesn't connect, so the Beacons will be forced back to retreat. Moving out of his own territory, wheeling through the neutral zone, this is Brian Ward. Ward, a light wing lead for Plaza, who is heading for the bench for a line change. Vin Mirasolo, golden opportunity, he scores! Vinny Mirasolo!
Vin Mirasolo out of action this weekend. He was sick, returning to the lineup tonight, and he's notching his 5th goal of the season. And a big one for the Polar Bears to get out early here. A tough weekend. They're coming off a tough weekend, and this is really a great way to start for the Polar Bears. A goal within the first just over a minute.
Vinny Mirasolo gets the goal. The time of it, 1 minute, 2 seconds, and the Polar Bears jump to an early 1-0 lead. Bruce Wilson's first touch of the puck. He leaves for the turning stick. In the right wing corner, Kravchuk battling. Now the Polar Bears look to move. Ahead for Steve Cashin, a bit too far. Cashin will pivot back, starts it off for Kravchuk. Ahead for Chin, lays through nicely for Mirasolo. Mirasolo hooked off the play, a centering feed looking for Cashin. Broken up there by Mike O'Connell. He turns behind Bill O'Brien. In the UMass Boston zone. Cashin putting on some pressure as he'll lock up with Dan Moynihan. Play ragged here in the first 2 minutes of the play. The Polar Bears have the only goal. Vin Mirasolo at the 1:02 mark has given Bowdoin a 1-0 lead. Mark McLean turns behind Bruce Wilson. Fans on his clearing attempt, stealing there is Moynihan. Lays through centering feed attempt there, going for Dan Fleming. Moynihan turns with a weak shot on goal. McLean trying the long headman feed, looking for the breaking Brad Chin. Chin now with Mirasolo, hooks off the play. Good defensive job there by Greg McLean. Sprinting to keep in, and doing so, it's John Ash, and he gives it right back to UMass. Boston will break back. This is Moynihan. Cutting in and stripping away from him is Tomas Johansson. Polar Bears with a 3-on-2 if they hurry. Delaney leads for Chin, tries a return for Delaney, and that just fails to connect. Delaney puts on the brakes, eludes the checking of Lou Tomasello. Tries to wrap it around in front, and that just fails to connect once more, and John Ash will be forced to peel back in the own zone. Gives it ahead, Billy Innocent strips, loses to Pincott. And now Innocent will corral and set the break for the UMass Boston Beacons. Forechecking there by Delaney. John Ash steals, moves the Polar Bears right back. And as Pincott tried to dump it in, he catches Chris Delaney astride offside. And Mitch Chris Delaney coming in started off a house of fire, a 4-goal game early on in the season, but then has been slow coming.
Well, he's cooled off a little bit. 6 goals on the year. You mentioned 4 of those coming in one game. 13 assists for the sophomore center iceman. 19 points on the year. He's in 3rd in the Polar Bears scoring column, but a little behind last year's pace as he had a fantastic freshman year. But like some of the other Polar Bear forwards, a little off this year in the scoring totals.
Back to the live play we go. Racing for the loose puck. This is Dan Fleming. Bumped to the boards by Klapman. And now Paul Nelson loses an edge, falls into the boards. He's met there by Steve Gosling. And the two of them will combine to force a face-off in the defensive territory. 17 minutes, 2 seconds left to go in period number 1. Polar Bears on top of the visiting UMass Boston Beacons 1-0. Vin Mirasolo just 62 seconds into the contest. Off the draw, this is Ray Diffley. Out of Arlington, Massachusetts, Diffley puts on the brakes. Starts the breakout near wing corner for Nelson. Nelson fought off the play. Good job there by Jim Aben. Backhand bid there by Aben, broken up by Diffley. Kept in left point by Tomasello. He'll dump further. Klapman tying up right on there with Steve Gosling. Forces the play free. Into the neutral zone they come. Flying back here into the neutral zone. Mooting on a move on. Feed for Nelson. Into the forehand. Big save O'Brien. Rebound, turnaround drive, and that's just sent wide. Nelson battling. Play in the defensive left wing corner. Controlling it is Brad Jenkins. Jenkins leads for Nelson. Centering feed, taken out of harm's way. Good job there by Dan Fleming. Fleming bothered by Richard, if I have the name pronounced correctly, Mitch. And moving back the other direction comes Tomasello, broken up by Klapman. Klapman spinning away from the forecheck. Wilson out to help. Leaves off the backboards. Klapman, and once again cut down to the ice by Dan Fleming. Fleming doing a great job of forechecking. Locks up with his opposite number 11, Kurt Liebig, but Klapman will control for the Polar Bears and move them away. Liebig moving 2-on-2 with Richard. Putting on the brakes, turning down low, centering feed one-handed. O'Brien will put a clamp on that one and force the face-off to his left. And Mitch, Terry Mahar obviously has jumbled his lines, not afraid to get Brad Jenkins and Derek Richard into the lineup.
Well, those two, along with Paul Nelson, a line combination that stuck for most of the early part of the year. Paul Nelson, of course, being converted to the forward position this year by Mahar, a defenseman for his entire hockey career until this year. He's responded pretty well, though. 5 goals already on the year. Played the last few games back on defense. Mahar has him back on the wing. Gives the Polar Bears some good size up there.
Jeff Wood wins the draw, but intercepting it quickly, it's Mark Bourgeois. Bourgeois met head up there by McLean. Good defensive job by the Polar Bear rookie. And Jeff Wood will dump in. Kurt Liebeck gives chase. Meets the backboards with Dave O'Connor. Pair of 8s in the right wing corner. Wood trying to strip. Mike Dalton there as well, and Dalton wins it for UMass. Away they come. Bill Higgins out of the zone. Giveaway. Stepping in. Drive by Kravchuk, and that was deflected just wide of the near wing corner. Wood leaves for Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh boomed to the ice. Big check put on there by Dave O'Connor, and the Beacons will break. Dan Fawcett loses in turn. Kurt Liebeck racing back. Liebeck takes a high elbow. Mike Kavanaugh will race. Kavanaugh bumped off the play. McLean tries to keep in at the line. He does not do it, but the offside will be waived. The Polar Bears tag, sending one in softly. The first save of the night for Bruce Wilson as he'll stop Dan Fawcett. Leaves for the turning stick of Peter Kravchuk. A lead ahead for Brad Chin, a bit too far. Backhanding it back into the neutral zone. Playing here, it's Charles Plaza. Plaza, left wing feed for Brian Ward, who gives it right to the stick of John Ash. Now McLean kicks it ahead, looking for Chin too far. And once again controlling, sending it in. Play is neutral is ragged in the neutral zone. Both of these teams misfiring on their passes. Here's one that connects Chin ahead to Cashin. He's got Mirasolo with him. Right on in! And Mirasolo beaten by the sliding pads of Billy O'Brien. Racing back for UMass Boston, trying to counterpunch. Here comes Larry Moseshin. Moseshin, a dangerous scorer, gives it up to the near wing, and Chin will send it back with a little assistance from John Ash. Steve Cashin gives chase. Charles Plaza controls. Flipping out here is Butner. Butner ahead to Moseshin, 2-on-1, and Brad Chin alertly back on the wing, makes the play, and then throws the body. Controlling here, right wing corner, sending a backhand towards goal was Mike Dalton. Loose in front, and John Ash will sweep that out of harm's way and start Mirasolo ahead. Now for Cashin. Cashin the drop for Mirasolo, who is unsuspecting, and Moseshin will move back 3-on-2 if he hurries. Moseshin turning John Ash, cutting in. Big save, Wilson, as he holds the short side. Ash gives chase. Controlling now. Centering feed broken up. Delaney towards goal as it was ripped there by Butner, and that's turned away by Wilson, and Jim Pincock sweeps up the loose rebound. 2-on-2, he moves with Cashin. Cashin over the line, stood up. Good defensive job there as Larry Butner put a check on. Pincock's centering feed comes right to the stick of Greg McLean. McLean tries to clear on a second effort. Rammed in there by Clapman, and that's broken up before it ever reached the cage. Pincock ties with Butner. Centers for Delaney. Lovely move, but he had it just poked off of his stick. Good defensive job again there by Butner. Butner and Pincock moving for a loose puck. Butner controls. UMass needs a line change, and Butner will comply by dumping in. Wilson holds, leaves for Clapman. 12:45 in a fast-moving first period of play. Joe Beninati and Mitch Price with you. Polar Bears on top of the Beacons, 1-0. Vin Mirasolo, the goal scorer, at the 1:02 mark. Ray Diffley scales one in. O'Brien careful to play. Leaves for Lou Tomasello. Tomasello loses. Good forechecking job. Here's Johansson in alone. He's got Delaney with him. Feed for Delaney. He scores! Chris Delaney! Chris Delaney, we talked about his goal-scoring production dropping down a little bit this season lately. Excellent playmaking ability, though, exhibited right there. His 14th assist of the season as he sets up Johansson, and a great counterattack there by the Polar Bears as they... Mahara indicated earlier today that they were going to be changing their systems a little bit, and it looks like early in the game they're not forechecking quite as aggressively as they have in the past this season. They're waiting, they're laying back a little bit and forcing UMass to come out of the zone, but then trying to capitalize on their mistakes on the breakout. That time they capitalized and get their second goal of the first period. Capitalize on their great speed, a beautiful 2-on-1. Good forechecking pressure at the line, though, created that one. Johansson, a brilliant setter for Delaney, and Delaney puts the finishing touches on it. In the neutral zone, UMass Boston will control and dump in. Dave O'Connor doing the honors, but right there is Mark McLean, who is defense partner Peter Kravchuk. Kravchuk a lead for Nelson. Nelson now moves into UMass territory, working wide, centers one towards goal, and there you see goaltender O'Brien quick to get the clamps on that and cover. And Billy O'Brien, who came in relief in the last time these two teams met, a Polar Bear victory at the Boston Harbor campus, under siege so far in the early going.
UMass Boston goaltender O'Brien under siege for the Polar Bears. Kind of a picture-perfect start for Bruce Wilson. His first shot, a soft shot from the point, let him get his feet wet, and then makes a big save early on in the first period to give him a little bit of confidence. So far, Wilson has started out well.
On perhaps UMass's most potent offensive threat, Larry Mosession, usually deadly when he comes off the wing, a good goal scorer, and Wilson held the post nicely and beat him. 11 minutes, 40 seconds to go in period number 1. Polar Bears hold a 2-0 lead. Mirasolo and Delaney. This is Jeff Wood, a right wing feed for Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh eye-to-eye with the checking of Dan Fleming, and Fleming bumps Kavanaugh off the play. Into the neutral zone, ramming it right back, it's John Ash. Larry Butner, behind this evening's starting netminder, Bill O'Brien. Butner, a right wing lead. Steve Gosling. Gosling lays through for Fleming, he'll move 2-on-2. Fleming, eyed there by Ash, and Ash does a nice job to play him straight up and block the shot. Fleming looks to center for the breaking winger, can't do it. Comes back left point for Greg McLean. McLean down low. Center, there's a good bid. Drives and scores! One-timer, Steve Gosling pulls the Beacons back to within 1.
Well, tough situation there for the Polar Bears. Bruce Wilson, not a whole lot he could do about that one. Is wide open in the slot there and a quick shot there. One-timing it by Wilson on the ice. Putting the UMass Boston Beacons right back in this game.
UMass right back in the game. Bruce Wilson getting trapped perhaps a little deep in his net. If Bruce had his druthers, he would have been out a little higher on the angle there, but a good shot right off the bat. Bang, bang pass. Steve Gosling rams it home. The time of the goal will be 8:55, and this one appears to be yet another high-scoring affair. When these two teams get together, it's been traditionally high-scoring. We should mention the Beacons' last 4 contests have all gone into sudden death overtime, so they have been, as you so aptly put it, fit to be tied this season. Diffley ahead for Chin. Chin ahead for Cashin as he tried to kick it to his stick. He lost his edge. Mosession dumps. Wilson holds and leaves for Klapman. Klapman uses the glass to clear. Play is in the neutral zone, away from the forechecking of Cashin, who sends a Beacon flying as he knocked Mosession to the ice. Brad Chin cutting in, near wing, centering feed, and O'Brien had trouble handling that. Big point drive, Diffley the save. Rebound is Mirasolo hunting for some loose garbage. He can't come up with it. Klapman centering towards goal and met there. Good job turning it away. It's Marc Bourgeois. Bourgeois, a left wing feed. The lead feed ahead too far for the breaking Billy Innocent. Glove down and sent right back in by Charles Plaza. This is Jim Klapman. Klapman in full stride now. Puts on the brakes, trying to lead the 3-on-2. Down low for Chin. Sliding across to make that stop. The rebound in front. Johansson scores!
Great forechecking work there by the Polar Bears. Johansson right out in front, making no mistake there. And Polar Bears on top 3-0. Really, 3-1, excuse me, Joe. 3-1 as the Beacons had just countered moments earlier. But Johansson's second goal and some good forechecking work again by the Polar Bears, capitalizing on another UMass Boston mistake.
We had the opportunity to speak with Brad Chin in the pre-taped interview that you're going to be seeing in between periods 1 and 2, and we remind you to stick by your TV sets for that one at the intermission. But he said we've got to get Tomas Johansson going, Vin Mirasolo, Jim Pincock as well. Johansson seems like he's breaking out of his drought. He's got a pair of first-period goals. Mark McLean, as he tries to hold to the line, the Beacons were trapped offside, and the whistle is blown. 9:43 left to go in period number 1. If you're just joining us, you've missed 4 goals, and some of them coming quite early. Vin Mirasolo and Tomas Johansson with a pair have tallied for the Polar Bears. Steve Gosling has the lone goal for the UMass Beacons. Joe Beninati and Mitch Price with you from the Bowdoin College Dayton Arena on Casco Cable, Channel 13. Jim Pincock will dump. O'Brien holds. Johansson gives chase. Johansson working tremendously hard tonight in the first 20 minutes of play. Trying to sweep it clear. Polar Bears keep him hemmed in. McLean's backhand comes right to the waiting stick of Dan Moynihan. Moynihan tries to turn on McLean, and McLean does a good job to wedge him to the boards. This is Peter Kravchuk. Kravchuk sent to the boards himself by Bubba McNeese. Ooh, tough hit on McLean there as he was leveled. Getting back for it was Dan Moynihan. Play comes all the way into UMass zone. McLean comes skating slowly to the players' bench as he was hit hard by Moynihan, but seems okay. Polar Bears looking for more, leading by 2, 3-1. This is Moynihan. Right wing feed on the money for McNeese. McNeese will backhand in and get the line change for Bill Stewart. This is Peter Kravchuk. Nice puts on the brakes. Beautiful move. Giveaway there, near giveaway by Alan Kartner. controlling on his backhand while on the ice. Paul Nelson sweeps it away, tries to lead feed for Richard too far, and racing back to cover it will be Greg McLean. McLean into the middle for Dalton. Dalton loses to Nelson. Paul Nelson doing a job to hold up a beacon at the blue line. Stepping in there is Cartner. 4 players battle for it. Finally it squirts free, and controlling will be Marc Bourgeois. Waffle to the near wing corner. Bruce Wilson getting the call tonight, his first start of the season. Bourgeois away from the check of Cartner. Bourgeois still in possession. Right point comes to Butner. Big drive, and Wilson there out on the angle to turn that away. Richard marking closely there as he had to follow in on Greg McLean, and the puck bounces out of the playing surface. We'd like to remind you that tonight's Bowdoin College Polar Bear Hockey is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Domino's Pizza delivered in 30 minutes or less. That's guaranteed. Try their new pan pizza. Domino's Pizza in Brunswick, 729-5561, and in Topsom, 725-1400.
Well, Joe, there you saw one of the problems for the Polar Bears over the weekend, a little earlier, a turnover in their defensive end. Middlebury capitalized on a number of those to get excellent goal-scoring chances. They'll have to cut those down here tonight to be successful.
Especially against a team that has scored very well in the early going. I'd like to see who UMass Boston's opponents have been thus far, but they have put up some good numbers, perhaps not against the quality teams in the league, and certainly not of the quality of this Polar Bear squad. Bruce Wilson out to cut it off, winds it around. Kurt Liebeck has a hit from behind there, and that appears as it might be the call. It's going to be cross-checking, I believe. Kurt Liebeck's going to get the first minor penalty of the game. The time of the call will be 12:25, and it is going to be cross-checking against Kurt Liebeck. So the UMass Boston Beacons and head coach Bill Stewart gets to put his power play unit on ice for the first time this evening.
Well, the Polar Bears, penalty killing-wise, coming into tonight's game, they're killing penalties at a 71.7% clip. The power play for the Bowdoin Polar Bears is a little off this year. They're only hitting at 16%, so especially situations so far has made a difference in favor of the opposition for Bowdoin.
We're back underway. First power play of the night. It belongs to UMass Boston. Centering feed, looking for Movsession. The pass coming through there from Brian Ward misfires. Movsession lays down low, holding here. It's McNeese, right point. Good job to bring Cashin out on the fake drive there by Plaza, but Clapman comes over to recover. Plaza sprints to keep it in. Does, only momentarily, as Cashin forces it back into the neutral zone. Sending here, laying it through, it's Bill Higgins. Bruce Wilson watching as Clapman sends Dan Fleming to the board. Back to the point. Polar Bears break 2-on-1. Shorthanded bid here. Brad Ginn along with Cashin. Ginn puts on the brakes, and Plaza, the forward, playing defense, does a nice job to stay in between the two Polar Bear attackers, and now he tries to counterattack. Plaza, drop feed for Fleming. Left wing circle, Fleming. Ill-advised pass, swept away by Diffley and dumped back into the neutral zone. 1 minute exactly in the UMass power play. Clapman for his defense partner, Diffley. Diffley sends it through. Regaining here. He's coming right back in, moving it back. Sending it towards goal was Bill Higgins. Goes wide on the short side. Fleming away from Diffley. Diffley still bothering him. Now Movsession. 40 seconds left in the power play. Movsession. Clapman right there marking him closely. Hauls him down, and he's going to get another penalty. UMass would be wise to give up the play, and they do, so that they have a longer 2-minute advantage. And now the Polar Bears, leading by 2 goals at 3-1, will face a steep challenge, a 2-man disadvantage.
And we saw Saturday afternoon the Polar Bears going on a 2-man advantage against Middlebury in the first period. The Panthers able to kill that off and seemed to give them a little bit of momentum as they took a 2-goal lead into the dressing room after the first period, went on to defeat the Polar Bears. And the key time here for Bowdoin, especially with Wilson in goal playing his first start, if they can kill this off, give him a lot of confidence.
A good point, Mitch. Freshman Jim Clapman getting the gate. 2 minutes for holding. The time of the penalty, 13 minutes, 53 seconds. Translation, UMass Boston goes 5-on-3 for the next 32 seconds. The 32 seconds remaining in Kurt Liebeck's minor for cross-checking. And a big draw won there by Johansson as it comes all the way back into UMass territory. 2-man power advantage, 20 seconds now for UMass. Flying back here, Dalton will send it in. Wilson gets out to cut it off. Good job. Leaves for Kravchuk. Clear giveaway. And Wilson had to scramble back to turn away Dalton. Left point it comes. Billy Innocent walking in here. Diagonal feed for the breaking winger as they tried to connect down low looking for Jim Eben. And Eben now controls. Kravchuk meets him. Center's feed. Polar Bears now just 1 man down for the next minute 25 as the 5-on-3 is over. Left point Innocent, one-timer, big drive as that puck was up on edge. rolling, and Brian Ward couldn't get a big shot off on that one. Got it up too high. Mirasolo knocks it clear, looks for more. 2-on-1 if he hurries. Plays through for Johansson, and a great defensive job there by Greg McLean. Mirasolo corrals it, loses it. And now quickly, back into the neutral zone, Mark McLean gives it right back. Bubba McNeese dumps in. Kravchuk will race. Kravchuk tries to find Mirasolo. Doesn't matter, it works out perfectly as it comes all the way down. There you see to Bill O'Brien. O'Brien gives it up. Good job by Mirasolo to dump it in. 40 seconds left in the Beacon's second power play chance of the period. Right wing they come, Dan Fleming. Fleming met there by Pincock. Pincock does a nice job to hold him up, and then Kartner stripped away, and as he did that, Fleming threw his teammates offside. 4 minutes, 42 seconds left to go in the first period of play. Bowdoin on top of UMass Boston 3-1. Johansson with a pair, Mirasolo, the 3 for the Polar Bears. Steve Gosling has countered for UMass. Delaney wins the draw, sends it the length of the ice. Polar Bear penalty killers doing an outstanding job, in particular the center iceman, to win the key faceoffs. Here comes Charles Plaza. 60-footer, easy stop there for Wilson. Wilson had the idea of playing Ron Hextall and sending it the length of the ice himself, thought better of it and put the clamps on it.
Well, Bruce wants the defensive zone faceoff there. No Ron Hextall that time. Polar Bear penalty killers, that time Johansson and Mirasolo moments ago with a good scoring opportunity. And Bowdoin traditionally a little dangerous when they're killing penalties because of the great team speed they have. Can break in on some teams' 4 shorthanded goals on the year. Brad Chin coming 3 of those for the Polar Bears, and they're a little dangerous when shorthanded.
2 players right in the center of your screen with a lot of speed. 15 for the Polar Bears, Chris Delaney, and 22 for the Blue squad, the UMass Boston squad, Charles Plaza. They try to work the power play. Centering feed there from Brian Ward is intercepted, and the Polar Bears are going to survive this one, a 2-man short disadvantage as they skate at full strength. Delaney hauled down, no call. Just under 4 minutes left to go in our opening period tonight from the Dayton Arena. Derek Richard steals and dumps in. Mahar wants the line change, he'll get it. Feed from Movsesian cut down, and keeping it in there is Johansson. Johansson keeps play trapped in only momentarily as Plaza will race back. Right wing feed from Movsesian, working away from Diffley. Tries to drop it for Plaza. Kept in, left point drive, sticked away by Bruce Wilson as a point shot came in from Dave O'Connor. And Wilson does a nice job to deflect the rebound up over the back glass.
Joe, the Polar Bears have been very conscious early on in the first period to play a rather defensive style of hockey. I talked about it in the opening few minutes, the forechecking a little different. Rather than crashing 2 men down deep in the zone, which they usually do, they're playing their men back towards the faceoff circle and letting UMass come out on the breakout, and in their defensive zone also being very defensive-minded, trying to protect Wilson.
Play kept in, drive towards goal, goes wide on the glove hand side of Bruce Wilson. Back into the neutral zone, Derek Richard gives chase. He's in a race there with Greg McLean. McLean wins it. Richard loses an edge, but he's up okay. UMass will race back. Mark Bourgeois, left wing feed, broken up there on the wing, right on the money. There was Brad Jenkins playing his position very well and deflects that up out of play. 3 minutes, 13 seconds left to go in period number 1. Joe Beninati alongside of Mitch Price. We'd like to remind you that tonight's Polar Bear hockey game being brought to you by Bodwell Lawn and Tractor. Art invites all his old friends to come visit him at his new location on the Lewiston Road, Route 196 in Topsom. Bodwell Lawn and Tractor, featuring the complete line of Iron Tough Bowling snow throwers. Kurt Liebeck flips ahead looking for Mike Kavanaugh, and that's rammed right back into Polar Bear territory. McLean, Kravchuk. Ahead for Kavanaugh, will be kept in there. Good job pinning him in momentarily as Kavanaugh will fight it away and send it free from Greg McLean. This is Liebeck. Liebeck trying to bang it into the UMass zone, and in his haste, it goes up into the UMass Boston players bench. And Mitch, to this point, I would think Terry Mahar quite pleased with the opening 17 minutes of play. His team struggling offensively of late. They get on the board early, and they keep it going.
Off of some turnovers in the UMass Boston end, taking advantage of that, and they've cut down the turnovers in their own defensive end a little bit so far this first period, and they'd like to keep that up.
Mike Kavanaugh sending in Jeff Wood. Wood skated off the play, good job, and the right wing feed comes a bit too far for Bubba McNeese. Peter Kravchuk turning in his own zone in front of this evening's starting netminder Bruce Wilson. Wilson's first start of the night. He's done a fine job, only beaten once by Steve Gosling, a bang-bang play in the slot from about 15 feet. The only goal Wilson has surrendered, his Polar Bears have gotten him 3 in a 2-goal lead. Bill O'Brien at the opposite end of the arena looks on as McGlane starts it away. A right wing feed intercepted by Cashin. Cashin tries a head and shoulder fake on Museshin. Works beautifully. Coming in, and as he put on an extra move at the line, Mike Cavanaugh throwing a stride offside.
So you look at Mike Cavanaugh skating off the ice there. Terry Mahar is going to need some senior leadership from players like Mike Cavanaugh, Kurt Liebig, Jim Pincock, players that have been down the stretch before, been in ECAC playoff competition, been to the championship games. Play from those type players as the season comes down the stretch is going to be very important to get those players producing at their optimal levels.
Finn Mirasolo gives chase. UMass Boston breaks out near wing corner. Less than 2 minutes to go in period number 1. Brad Chin looking on is turning away here. It's Dan Fleming. Fleming's feed a bit too far for Billy Innocent. Sending right back in. Icing will be the call. There is the whistle as it was dumped in from behind the center ice red line. So the faceoff will come to the left of Bruce Wilson. 1:46 left to go in this one. Tomas Johansson, as you mentioned, needs some leadership out of him. He's a third-year player, working very hard, skates so very well. What's been the problem this year? I think it's been the bounces that just haven't gone that way. I think Terry Mahar is pleased with the effort.
Oh, sure. He's very pleased with the effort. And sometimes when things aren't going well for a player, they can try too hard. And the harder they try, it seems the harder it is for them to score. Maybe if they can break free for some goals, they'll relax a little bit. And that may be the best solution for the Polar Bears, if the players can just relax.
You know, we sound morbid about it, but they're in third place in the conference.
Exactly.
3 games over 500, trailing 2 pretty good teams in Babson and Middlebury. Nothing to be ashamed of at all.
Indeed.
John Ash controls. A lead feed for Mirasolo breaking ahead. Sliding across is Larry Butner to make the play. Chin sneaking out near wing corner. Mirasolo controls, loses in turn, and breaking back here. As you see, racing through the middle of your screen was Larry Butner. Gives it away to Ash. Ash for Mirasolo. Backhand feed looking for Cashin. And Butner again steals back. Left wing lead for Aben. Aben a right wing feed for Fleming, and that misfires. Wilson will wind it around. Ray Diffley. Once more, and a backhanded clear. Brad Chin behind the field. 2-on-1 if he moves quickly. Chin cutting in. Leaves through for Delaney. And Delaney had his stick off the ice, in part due to the back-checking of the breaking winger there. Good hustle by Billy Higgins. And UMass Boston reeling a bit in its own defensive zone. Sends it the length of the ice.
Joe Bill Higgins really saved a goal for the Beacons there. Back-checking on Chris Delaney, lifting his stick. Great pass there. And that would have been a tough one to give up. Go down 3 goals heading into the period. Polar Bears would have all kind of momentum.
A reminder, please stay with us in between periods 1 and 2. We'll be joined by the junior right winger for Bowdoin College. Brad Chin was by and spoke with us earlier. Brad Chin, Polar Bear leading goal scorer, having another outstanding point-producing season. And we had a chance to speak with Brad, and we'll hope you stay with us in between periods 1 and 2 tonight. Ray Diffley ahead for Johansson. Johansson watches as Delaney plays, and Delaney and Pincock miscommunicating at the line, throw each other offside. Just 33 seconds away from our opening period intermission, and another good hockey game coming to you from the Dayton Arena. And we'd like to thank Wilson's Drugstore at 114 Front Street in Bath. Wilson's Drugstore, prescriptions, healthcare products, cosmetics, and beauty aids. Wilson's Drugstore, 442-8786. Pincock hauled down off the draw. Sending it in here is Mike Dalton. Wilson leaves for the turning stick of Ray Diffley. Diffley nicely eluding the forechecking pressure ahead for Johansson. Right winging for Pincock. Full stride, and goaltender O'Brien dives out to poke that play up, or else Pincock was in alone on the right wing boards. 10 seconds left in the period. Karam comes to Pincock, trying to lay through for Delaney, and getting in the way of that, a good defensive job by Greg McGlane. 5 seconds left now as Johansson will control. Ray Diffley peels back into the zone, and that is where the period will end. 20 minutes of play complete tonight from the Bowdoin College Dayton Arena, and your Polar Bears are on top of the visiting UMass Boston Beacons by a 3-1 count. When Mitch and I return, we'll recap period number 1 scoring, and we'll also be joined by Polar Bear right winger Brad Chin. All that and more in between periods 1 and 2. You're watching Bowdoin College Polar Bear Hockey.
When I call you on the phone, I get a call.
Wilson's Drug has been a friendly neighbor to Bath residents for over 70 years. They are friendly, qualified, and caring pharmacists who know the difference between you and your prescription number. Wilson's is also the only pharmacy in Bath who delivers to their customers. Come in and meet everyone at Wilson's. You'll be glad you did.
Catch the brightest stars, the biggest hits, the best movies on HBO. Leslie Nielsen is back on his Police Squad beat in the comedy smash The Naked Gun. Ted Danson, Isabella Rossellini, Sean Young, a romantic romp that's all in the family. Cousins. Tom Berenger, Charlie Sheen, and Corbin Burnson take the field for America's favorite pastime, Major League. Catch them all, the best movies on HBO.
Here at the Bowdoin College Dayton Arena, we're in between periods 1 and 2. Joe Benenati alongside of Mitch Price tonight. And Mitch, the Polar Bears doing everything Terry Mahar could have wanted out of his Chargers after 20 minutes of play. They scored early. They kept up good defensive pressure in front of Bruce Wilson, and they helped him get adjusted. And I think he's got to be completely pleased after a period of play.
Well, I think that's the key point. Bruce Wilson seeing his first start as a varsity goaltender for the Polar Bears and going into the locker room only giving up 1 goal. He's got to be happy, and I think the team has to be happy. And it was interesting to note that the Polar Bears did seem to play a little more of a defensive style that first period of play, and Mahar had indicated they were going to make some changes in their systems, and that seems to be one of them, maybe playing a little bit more defensive-minded to help protect their goaltenders.
Polar Bears got it started early on as Vinny Mirasolo counters at the 1:02 mark, just 62 seconds into the contest. A great start, and then they get a couple of goals from Tomas Johansson, a pair of sleeping giants, if you will, getting on the board tonight.
Great to see Vin Mirasolo get back on the scoreboard. Been struggling a little bit this year, and as we mentioned, been sick. Missed the weekend series with Norwich and Middlebury. And Johansson, you had spoken with Brad Chin. All the Polar Bears want to see him get going, and he works as hard as anybody out there. The puck just not bouncing his way so far this season, but now maybe this will get him going. 2 goals in the first 20 minutes of play.
Steve Gosling getting the lone goal for the UMass Boston Beacons. A tough chance for Bruce Wilson somewhat early on in the contest. Bang-bang sort of play. He was a little deep in the net, but I think Bruce has got his feet under him now.
Yeah, I think he does. He's got to be pleased with his performance there. And an unfortunate play for the Polar Bears, another turnover in their own defensive end. That kind of plagued them this weekend a little bit. But besides that one good opportunity for the Beacons, pretty sound defensively in their own zone were the Polar Bears.
Whenever you have young defensemen and young, perhaps inexperienced goaltenders, you need some offensive scoring ability. And the Polar Bears have had no troubles this season getting it from Brad Chin. Brad Chin has been dynamite, Bowdoin College's leading scorer. We had a chance to speak with Brad prior to tonight's game. We'd like to roll that interview for you now. High-scoring right winger, Brad Chin. Back in between periods 1 and 2 tonight, the Bowdoin College Polar Bears playing host to the UMass Boston Beacons. Our guest in between periods 1 and 2, junior right winger from Montreal, Quebec, Brad Chin. And Brad, nice to have you with us. And it seems like the Polar Bears in years past have always had a go-to guy offensively, John McGeough. Brendan Hickey come to mind right away, and it seems like you're that man this season.
Well, thanks, Joe, for having me here. Up to now, I've been lucky. I've had my breaks, and the team's been playing well overall. And unfortunately, you know, we've been lacking a little scoring punch. Certainly, we need our big scorers like Johansson and Pincock and Kavanaugh, Delaney to put the puck in the net. And when that comes, obviously we'll see a little more success than we have up to date.
Let's turn our attention to your game more specifically. Skating game seems to be your finest attribute, and the ability to put the puck in the net when you get the great chance, you're dynamite on the breakaways.
Well, I have to attribute that to our defense especially. They move the puck very fast behind the net. They go D to D and are able to see the wingers or the center for that matter hitting the open seams, and that's what our forwards basically look for, is to hit the open seams, and when our defensemen hit us, it makes our job easier.
You mentioned Pincock and Johansson, players struggling of late. It has been Terry Mahar's theory, I guess, that the bounces haven't been going your way. This team is working hard enough, the puck's just not going in the net.
Well, the work ethic is definitely there, as Coach Mahar has said to us. However, you're right that the bounces have not gone our way, and take that Norwich game for instance. I felt that we outplayed them and we had our chances and everything, but you know, unfortunately, that's the breaks, and we're looking to change that luck tonight.
Coming into tonight's action, a chance for the Polar Bears to be in a position they're not very often used to being in. Losers in consecutive conference games for the first time, I believe, since 1974. How do you get things going back at home, a building where normally success is as easy as 1, 2, 3?
Well, our team is expecting a high-scoring game again against the UMass team. They're a very explosive team, very offensive, and are able to score many goals, and they have a lot of explosive players. And we're just hoping to put things together tonight and play our game. Coach Mahar has changed up a little of our strategy, and hopefully, we can stump UMass tonight.
Terry Mahar is known to change strategy quite often. He's also known to change line combinations. How does that affect you tonight, possibly playing with people you haven't been all season long? I think Coach Mahar would probably say at this level you should be able to play with anybody as a center or a left wing in your case, but certainly Terry is known to jumble the lines when things get tough and look for hope and hope for some better success.
Well, definitely it helps playing with players that you know and whatnot, but he is known for switching up the lineups when things aren't going well. And I mean, with a winning percentage of close to 700, 750, he's doing something right. So obviously it helps that we're familiar with our players, but every player has played with another player at one time or another, so I don't think that should be a problem.
Fans this weekend had an opportunity to see the Middlebury College Panthers come into Dayton Arena, the team that boasted 7 Canadians, Brad, you were telling me prior to the interview, 5 of them from Quebec. Yourself coming from Quebec, how does the Canadian player have to adjust to the play at the colleges in the United States level?
Well, Canadian hockey is much different than the United States level. They play with intensity. They have many a game plan during a hockey game. Canadian hockey is more chase the puck, hit, play the man first, hook, grab, and I personally enjoy the American style of hockey better. It allows you to develop your hockey skills, and stay away from the dirty work.
Brad, a final question tonight. You mentioned that the UMass Boston Beacons are offensive-minded. That often leads to some lapses defensively, and a young team on defense a chance to spring people behind the play. Is that what Terry Mahar has in mind for periods 2 and 3 tonight?
Well, Coach Mahar, in our new design back check and forecheck, has incorporated the UMass offensive explosiveness, and our wingers are playing higher up now, so hopefully they won't create many breaks, but hopefully we will.
As good a coach as Terry Mahar is, you can be certain that he'll have Brad Chin at the scoring end more often than not, a player who's been explosive for the Polar Bears this season. Brad, best of luck to you this season and the Polar Bears for the rest of the way.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me here.
Okay. Back here at the Dayton Arena in between periods numbers 1 and 2, Joe Beninati along with Mitch Price. And Mitch, some new people in the lineups for the Polar Bears, but as always, Terry Mahar just reloads. He's got a number of newcomers on defense, in particular Clapman and McLean playing very well tonight.
Those two playing very well. One player that we haven't seen tonight, he's out with an injury, is Brian Clifford. He's a freshman defenseman out of Lewiston and out with a separated shoulder, but he's been very impressive for Terry Mahar also. And it was a tough adjustment for those players coming in, but they seem to have really improved their play as of late and doing a nice job back there. Half the defensive core freshmen, but still performing very well.
I made it funny. I think I called Derek Richard the Rocket Richard. His name is supposed to be Derek Richard. Derek Richard and Brad Jenkins inserted into the lineup, playing very well.
Oh, yeah, and their team with Paul Nelson for most of the beginning of the season, a senior, he's been there before, not up at the forward line, but I think that might help them a little bit, playing with a guy with the experience of a Paul Nelson, helping those two. And that line been very impressive as kind of a fourth unit. I mean, there is really no fourth line for the Polar Bears. They all play equally, but doing very well, and I think a surprise for most Bowdoin fans, the play of Jenkins and Richard.
We'll see if the newcomers can continue. We'll see if the veterans can add some pace to it. Polar Bears on top of the Beacons 3-1 after a period of play. When Mitch and I return, we'll have period number 2 tonight. You're watching Bowdoin College Polar Bear Hockey on Casco Cable, Channel 13.
Thought you could navigate the channel even in the fog. Looks like you'll be navigating the dry dock for the rest of the season. And last summer, your son thought he hit the game winner? Instead, he hit plate glass. Thompson, Desmond & Payne Insurance has been insuring against life's little surprises for over 65 years. For your marine or homeowner's insurance, call Tom Perry at Thompson, Desmond & Payne, 115 Front Street, Bath.
You know, some things give you a good feeling, like cutting wood for a winter fire. Or a steaming hot cup of chowder at J.R. Maxwell's. Walking in the woods. Our J.R. Maxwell's Special Thick Prime Rib Dinner. J.R. Maxwell's is a classic New England restaurant. Great food, atmosphere, and service. Now, don't you want to share that good feeling with someone you know today?
Joe Beninati and Mitch Price back with you as we're getting set for period number 2, play-by-play. The Bowdoin College Polar Bears entertaining the UMass Boston Beacons. The Beacons coming into tonight's action, a record of 7-9-2 in ECAC East-West play, and there you see our score after 20 minutes. Vin Mirasolo just 62 seconds into the contest. Tomas Johansson with a pair of goals. Steve Gosling countering for UMass Boston. That's where we stand. Polar Bears 2 goals better than the Beacons after a period of play. And Mitch, what do you anticipate from Bill Stewart's Beacons on the road down by 2 early in the contest?
Well, I think they've got to come out. Motivation for the Beacons, they're in 9th place right now in the ECAC East standings. The top 8 teams will go to the ECAC playoffs. They're trailing the Colby White Mules and within striking distance to get into playoff consideration. So I think that's one thing they're looking for. Any win now down the stretch, helping them get in position for a possible playoff bid.
Possible playoff berth, both of these teams battling for those. Everybody wants the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Bowdoin College Polar Bears, of course, 5 times ECAC Division II, ECAC East-West, whichever you'd like to refer to it. 5-time champions, 5 banners hanging in the rafters to our left. And as we call period number 2, the Polar Bears will go left to right. Home whites trimmed in silver and black. UMass Boston right to left. The road blues trimmed in gold and white. Back underway, we skate at even strength. Sending it in here is Charles Plaza. Clapman gives chase. Movsession right there. The two of them combined behind goaltender Bruce Wilson. Centering feed by Movsession, swept out of harm's way by Diffley. Tying up there, Brian Ward. Pressed to the boards by Diffley. Diffley steals back, lays for Liebig. Liebig a right wing lead for Kavanaugh, and the Polar Bears will break. Feed ahead for the quick skating Jeff Wood. Wood will combine there against Higgins. Higgins does a good job to wedge him off. Kavanaugh cross-check a little bit there, bumped off the play by Plaza. Clapman, right point. Fans on his wrist shot attempt. Plaza tries to move Clapman into the neutral zone, does it, so that Brian Ward can scale it in. Diffley in a race. Movsession wins it. Pops right to Bruce Wilson, who'll start the break, left wing for Wood. Wood away from the forechecking of Jimmy Aban. A lead feed for Liebig. Liebig watches as Diffley plays. Bill O'Brien, the goal to our right, starting netminder tonight for UMass Boston. The Beacons will play it ahead. Quickly, it's Dan Fleming. Right wing drive goes behind the net. Controlling there is Aben. Stripped from him by Clapman. Mirasolo right winging for Chin. Chin in full stride, working in. Centers! Here's the backhand bid by Cashin, who had a wide open net and he missed on the short side. Steve Cashin wide open in the slot. He had a wide open cage and he let it go just off the toe of his stick as he fans on it. Brad Chin now. Chips it back into neutral zone territory. Dave O'Connor moves UMass Boston back. Met there by McLean. Mirasolo moves with Chin and back they come 2-on-1. Chin cutting in, pulls to the backhand, and goaltender O'Brien to the butterfly to turn that away. McLean centering feed right to the stick of McLean. Long right wing feed breaking in here is Dan Fleming. Fleming can't control it. Boom to the backboards by Kravchuk. And now Chin will move the Polar Bears 3-on-2 if he's got the legs. Chin in need of a line change. Cuts in. Left wing. The drive. And Cashin his second golden opportunity on the shift. And he chipped that one over top of the net. McLean crunched in the corner. Cashin tries to keep in. And battling here, it's Bill Butner. Butner gives it right to the skates. Right to the pants, actually, of Vin Mirasolo. Keeps him hemmed in momentarily. And then finally backhanding it out, it's Jimmy Aben. Kravchuk. As the Beacons try to get a line change. Breakaway feed for Johansson just comes off of his stick. As the Polar Bears do another great job of head manning. Pincock, return for Johansson. He's got Delaney hovering in the slot. And his centering feed quickly pounced on there by goaltender O'Brien.
Joe, moments ago, O'Brien coming up very big on Brad Chin as Chin cut in on him from the right side and went to his patented backhand move. That's the first time I've seen a goaltender stop that. Interesting to note that the Polar Bears played the Beacons January 16th. Chin scoring a 3-goal hat trick in that game. 2 of those coming on the patented backhand deke. Maybe the goaltenders have learned something from watching him and are watching for that particular move. as O'Brien seemed to be there making the big stop.
Perhaps the word is out on Brad Chin. The quick move to the backhand. We'll have a face-off to the left of Billy O'Brien. Delaney digging in, tries to win it back to the point. It's a stalemate as Mike Dalton does a nice job to hold him up. Delaney tries to sneak out. Centering feed for Pincock, and that's swept out of harm's way by Billy Innocent. Pincock will battle with Innocent in the right wing corner. Now Johansson overskates. Dalton right there, and sweeping that away once more. It's Lou Tomasello. Centering feed right to Delaney. In the slot, he scores! Chris Delaney!
Great patience there by Chris Delaney. He had the puck out in slot, was all alone, didn't rush it. Took his time, went to the backhand, beat O'Brien. And again, the Polar Bears capitalizing on some forechecking and forcing a UMass Boston mistake. Delaney out in front. He made no mistake. Polar Bears on top 4-1 now.
Delaney, the time of the goal, 3 minutes, 3 seconds. Polar Bears 3 better than the Beacons, 4-1. Derek Richard centering the line. Not the Rocket, not the Pocket Rocket, but Derek Richard. Oh, he's going to love the first period. Send the tape home to Mom. Look, they're calling me Derek Richard.
They're calling me the Rocket. There he is.
Derek Richard centers his line in between Brad Jenkins and Paul Nelson. Big left winger, Nelson controls. He's got Jenkins sprinting in. Jenkins right wing circle drive, and goaltender O'Brien will turn it away. Controlling now for UMass Boston, Greg McLean. McLean loses to Richard. Richard drops it for Nelson. Backhander wide on the long side of O'Brien, who tries to headman it ahead himself. Losing it, regaining control for the Beacons. This is Mark Bourgeois. And yes, it's Bourgeois, not Burgess. Controlling back here, it's Greg McLean. McLean, for his defense partner Higgins, long left wing feed on the money there for the breaking Dan Fawcett. Fawcett in a race, beaten to it. And as Bruce Wilson comes over to assist his defenseman there, Ray Diffley, by playing it around. Fawcett and Diffley eye to eye. Fawcett right points for Higgins. Broken up by Richard on its way towards goal. Fawcett on the backhand, fans on that attempt. Sneaking out of the corner. Left point they come. This is McLean. McLean trying to get it back for Bourgeois. And that fails to connect and sending it ahead the length of the ice. Icing will be the call as the lead feed intended for Paul Nelson misfires.
Joe, the Bowdoin goal, Chris Delaney, the goal scorer, assist going to Jim Pincock and Tomas Johansson. And as we've been alluding to a little bit earlier in the broadcast, those are two players that Terry Mahara would like to see get going. And so far this evening, in the case of Tomas Johansson, he really has gotten going. 2 goals and an assist. And that's great to see if you're a Polar Bear fan.
It's exactly what you want to see for that man right there. Terry Mahar behind the Polar Bear bench. Tremendous success for Coach Mahar since joining the organization. He has been dynamite. 4 20-win seasons. The centering feed comes right through as Plaza was hauled down by Liebig. Jeff Wood breaking back. Wood moving along with Kravchuk. Good job back-checking there by Movsession to bump Kravchuk, the breaking defenseman, off the play. Jeff Wood keeps in, centers, it's blocked. Kravchuk will send it back. Liebig on the backhander, and O'Brien turns that away as Kavanaugh was looking to redirect it in front. This is Movsession, 3-on-2 with Plaza and Ward. Nicely back to Movsession. Return for Plaza, and that was denied. Good back-checking there by Jeff Wood. Bruce Wilson can't clear by himself. Dumping it back in there is Butner. Plaza does a good job to ward himself off. Coming out here is Ward on the backhand. Save, the rebound, scores! It trickles through. Credit the goal to Brian Ward. And the Beacons are right back in it, trailing by just 2 at 15:03 left to go in the second.
Senior forward Brian Ward, one of the Beacons, Joe, that you alluded to in the opening, is posting really impressive scoring numbers on the season. That's his 16th goal of the year. 13 assists to give him 29 points. And that time able to maintain control of the puck in there through the Bowdoin defense. And the backhand sometimes tough for the goaltenders, kind of like a changeup in baseball.
Thought Bruce Wilson had that one. It just snuck through his pads. Never actually was a rebound, just continuation of the first shot. And it rolls on through. Wilson just gets a chunk, but not enough of it. And the Beacons, now with 14 minutes and 45 seconds left to go in the middle period, are down just 2. Chin looking to center as he had Mirasolo hunting for a loose puck. And that one picked off by the defenseman. Good job there, first by Billy Innocent, and second by Bill O'Brien, the goaltender, to get out and cover.
Plaza drawing an assist on Ward's goal, 4:57 the time, and Beacons back within 2. Polar Bears like to keep the domination on. They've been very impressive early on, but still only holding a 2-goal lead.
We take a high-angle look at Vin Mirasolo, readying himself for the draw. Wants to draw it back to Brad Chin, who is the lower left corner of your screen. Fails to do that, however. Cashin battling with Billy Innocent. Innocent gets it ahead for Steve Gosling. Gosling backhands clear. Chin will ram it right back and leave for Mirasolo. Right point drive and a split save there with a right skate by goaltender Bill O'Brien. This is Billy Innocent. A lead on the left wing, a bit too far for Aben, who tops it in. Alan Kartner gives chase, away from the forechecking Dan Fleming. Aben for Fleming behind the net, eye-to-eye with John Ash. Tries a right point for Innocent. Innocent lays through on the backhand Aben, and he overskated that. Centers, one-timer, they score! Steve Gosling, and the Beacons are trailing by just one.
Joe, very impressed by the play of the Beacons. Pretty crafty down there in the Polar Bear defensive zone. Excellent passing there and showing some good patience. That time, again, setting themselves up for an excellent scoring opportunity. That's their second goal that's coming from the high slot area right in front of Bruce Wilson. And looks like Terry Mahar is going to be going to a goaltending change, Joe.
Terry Mahar calling Bruce Wilson, the senior from Bloomington, Minnesota, to the bench. And he inserts Darren Hirsch, the highly touted freshman. Hirsch out of Lawrence Academy. Getting a relief appearance tonight. The Polar Bears leading 4-3. They came into the second period of play up by 2 goals, 3-1. Improved their lead to 3 at 4-1. But Bruce Wilson and the Polar Bear defense has surrendered a pair of quick goals. And Terry Mahar has seen enough. He'll go with Darren Hirsch. Back underway. Giveaway. Moving back here is Johansson. Long right wing feed looking for Pincock. And the Polar Bears just failed to connect on a giveaway from Greg McLean. Right back they'll come. UMass Boston in a battle now. Always good ones on Castle Gable Channel 13. We have another one for you tonight live. Ray Diffley for Clapman. Clapman, left wing feed for Johansson. Johansson eye-to-eye with the checking there of Higgins. Higgins sends him to the boards. Delaney, centering feed. Gets it to Pincock. Pincock, left point. Diffley, turnaround drive. Saved by O'Brien as he went to the butterfly to cover a lot of the low ice. And flipping it clear, it's Bubba McNeese. Diffley will give chase. Icing will be waived. Eye-to-eye with the forechecking Mike Dalton. Diffley leaves for Johansson. Right wings for Pincock, and the Polar Bears will break. Too far behind the breaking Delaney. Sending it right back in is McNeese. Hirsch scrambles out of the net, gets his first touch of the puck. Starts a left wing break for Johansson. Johansson peels back. UMass Boston, a pair of goals has got them playing spirited play. They have really turned up the intensity a notch. And Darren Hirsch forced to get a whistle as the Polar Bears somewhat unsettled in the defensive zone. This is something that can happen with a young team, Mitch, but certainly I think Terry Mahar, some 16, 17 games into this season, is not expecting this from his charges.
Oh yeah, the coaches say the freshmen at this point in the season aren't freshmen anymore, that they have had enough games under their experience where they shouldn't be making what you would call freshman mistakes, and hopefully have the proper experience to avoid those kind of miscues.
It's not necessarily mistakes, it's just a matter of regaining your composure. Quick drive right off the faceoff. He had a great angle of that one as Dave O'Connor ripped it wide on the long side. McLean for Kravchuk. Kravchuk eludes the forecheck, gets it ahead for Brad Jenkins, who'll finesse his way into the neutral zone. Puck caroms off of Paul Nelson's skates right to the waiting stick of Larry Butner, who'll send it in. McLean kept in by Butner once more. Soft drive towards goal, one hopper that Hirsch made the stop on and covered the rebound. As looking for some loose garbage was Dan Fleming.
Joe, Coach Terry Mahar, the Polar Bears, much like the baseball manager with the quick hook, going to his relief goaltender, in this case Darren Hirsch. He's played in 10 games, sporting a goals against average of 4.44, save percentage of 85.5%, 5-4-1 record, and coming on in relief here.
Off the face-off, kept in by Innocent. First drive blocked by Liebig. Second drive blocked by Liebig, but Innocent still controlled. Hooks down. Innocent, no call coming from referee Pierre Boulanger. Centering feed comes right to the waiting stick of Mike Cavanaugh, and he'll race back with Jeff Wood. Cavanaugh stripped by Plaza, sent in by Ward. Goaltender Hirsch again out of the net to wind it around. He's got Liebig. Liebig connects with Cavanaugh. 2-on-2 with Wood, they'll move. Cavanaugh coming in, uses Wood as a screen. His wrist shot broken up, actually hit Wood in the back of the leg on its way in. Liebig pressed to the boards by Plaza. UMass Boston definitely playing improved hockey since getting back in this one. They were down and out at 4-1. They've rallied back to trim the lead to just a goal. 11 minutes, 30 seconds left to go in period number 2. A right wing feed from Movsession. This line, very talented. Movsession, Plaza, and Ward. All great stick handlers and deadly around the net. Ward will race against John Ash. Ash feeds for Diffley. Diffley eye-to-eye with Movsession, who peels off, and now Diffley will send it back in the neutral zone. Movsession gloves down, moves UMass back. Turning on Ash. On his backhand, he puts on the brakes. Tries to center. He fans on that attempt, and John Ash will take it back. Cashin, a lead for Chin too far. Chin will race. He'll meet Bill Higgins. Behind the net, Chin wins it. Centering feed. Cashin tried to get it to Mirasolo and turned him inside out. Mirasolo centering feed. Nobody there. And the Beacons will break. Higgins will dump. Hirsch out of the net. UMass tries to complete a line change as Steve Cashin controls. Cashin overskates. Diffley has some trouble. UMass doing a great job of keeping the Polar Bears hemmed in. Dangerous in the slot there as they tried to center it for Steve Gosling, who already has a pair of goals. That just fails to connect. Cashin racing back. Inside out, he scores! What a move by Steve Cashin!
Steve Cashin, you usually expect to see the playmaking and the passing ability of that sophomore forward. This time, you see his excellent offensive ability as a goal scorer. Great stopping on a dime there, really, coming in with a quick shot on the ice, and that's tough for the goaltender when you can shoot that quickly. Doesn't necessarily have to be an overpowering shot. Goaltender O'Brien didn't really seem like he was ready for that shot, and beats him on the glove side, low to the ice.
Time of the goal, 9 minutes, 32 seconds. The Polar Bears gain their 2-goal lead back. The one that they had coming into period number 2, only the score has changed. 5-3 now, Bowdoin in front. A high-scoring one sitting up here tonight in Brunswick. Pincock moving 3-on-2 with Delaney. Right on in, centering feed, and Johansson was close to his hat-trick goal. Backhander by Johansson goes wide, and the Polar Bears are buzzing now. Pincock bumping there along with Dave O'Connor, and O'Connor and Pincock will combine to force the face-off. Boulanger gesturing towards the goal. Perhaps the net is off its moorings, and we are going to have yet another goaltending change. You see Bill O'Brien heading just off the bottom left corner of your screen, and taking his place, number 1,
Vince Delvecchio.
Vince Delvecchio, and Delvecchio, who I believe had the start in the earlier meeting between these two clubs, so both coaches using everybody they got in the bench.
Well, a little reversal of what we saw last time in Boston. Delvecchio, the starter that time. O'Brien coming on in relief. This time it will be Vince Delvecchio coming on. And we've got 2 new goaltenders here in the second period. We'll see which one of those can lead his team tonight.
Darren Hirsch already has his baptism. He's faced a couple of shots. Delvecchio just inserted. So a wild one shaping up tonight in Brunswick. 5-3, the Polar Bears leading. Johansson centers Delaney's backhand bid, and there Delvecchio will usher it ahead for Bubba McNeese. McNeese, a lead feed ahead for the breaking winner. Dan Moynihan goes too far, icing his wave so that Kravchuk controls. Kravchuk for Delaney. Delaney in full stride now. Here's Pincock moving in, cutting through, and he's sandwiched there. Good job of defensive play. Coming across was Dave O'Connor in tandem with Larry Butner. Johansson keeps in. Wrist shot, waffled down by goaltender Delvecchio. He leaves the rebound loose. McLean will keep it in. Delvecchio thought better of coming out to cut it off, and as he started to make his break, he takes the net off its moorings. And Mitch, that'll give us a whistle and a chance to thank Thompson, Desmond, and Payne. 115 Front Street in Bath. Thompson, Desmond, and Payne insuring against life's little surprises since 1920. Thompson, Desmond, and Payne. 10 minutes, 39 seconds, 49 seconds played here in period number 2, and Terry Mahar has seen his grasp on the lead slip, and then he's regained it.
And interesting to see both coaches going to the goaltender changes, and a lot of times they think that will fire up the players in front of them and see some improved play in front of the new goaltender.
Back underway we go. Alan Karpner pins a player to the boards, gets some help from Paul Nelson in control to his defense partner Ash. Leaves it ahead for Richard. Richard, a left wing lead for Jenkins, will deflect it in and give chase. Jenkins battling with Billy Innocent. Tries to get a pick there from Paul Nelson. That's a pretty big pick. Jenkins loses, and it's stripped away back into the neutral zone, giving chase, racing full stride. It's Mark Bourgeois, beaten to the play by John Ash. Ash around for Nelson. Nelson hit a little early. Could have been an interference call there against Jim Aben. No call coming. As Aben caught Nelson unexpectedly and before the puck had come to Paul. Here comes Richard, excuse me, wanting to Frenchify everything. As soon as you see a hockey player with the last name Richard, it's got to be Henri or Rocket. Back they come. Dropping it, here's Aben. Aben tries to leave, and it comes right to the waiting stick of Ray Diffley. Tries the counterpunch. 4-on-2, and Diffley's lead feed for Wood goes too far. Wood, bump to the backboard, still maintains possession. Turning away from Aben. Leaves for Liebig. Liebig bothered. Good defensive job by Bourgeois. And now play back in the neutral zone so that Jim Clapman can start it back. Here's Liebig on his backhand. Leads for Kavanaugh. Now Wood, the backhander. And goaltender Del Vecchio flashing out the left pad to deny. Clapman, point drive, goes wide on the short side. And the little blue liner got a lot of wood on that one. Liebig, point. One-timer there from Diffley. Kavanaugh buried as he tried to get the rebound free. Diffley pinching down from the point position. Can't control it. And play is back in the neutral zone. The Polar Bears will be forced to regroup. Mirasolo, now Cashin, quick counterattack, right on in. He tried to lay it for Chin, the right idea, but Brad Chin just a stride late on the play. Glad you've joined us tonight from the Dayton Arena. Polar Bears on top of UMass Boston 5-3. Joe Beninati along with Mitch Price. And back we come as Charlie Plaza. We go end-to-end, in alone, on the forehand. And Hirsch stays with him. And Clapman did a nice job to hook him off. Plaza can't control. Keeping it in, left wing point, sending it towards goal was Greg McGlane. Cashin now, tying up. Now Plaza, look out, Movsession alone in the slot, quick one-timer, he scores! Larry Movsession left unattended, and you don't leave a goal scorer of his abilities alone in the slot. He makes no mistake.
Oh, and an excellent feed from behind the net, waiting for the Polar Bear defenseman Jim Clapman to go down on the ice, coming around the net, setting up Movsession in front of the net, and you're exactly right. Joe, you don't leave a goal scorer with the abilities of Movsession alone in front of the net. Charles Plaza was the UMass Boston Beacon, setting up that golden opportunity for Movsession. Movsession, the leading goal scorer for the Beacons last year just as a freshman, so he's obviously got a lot of ability. Bill Stewart will have him around for 2 more years.
You like offensive hockey, you like this one tonight. 5-4, 9 goals scored in little more than 34 minutes played. Jim Pincock looks for more. Drive, save Del Vecchio. And on his backside, he'll squeeze to cover the rebound. Faceoff will come to his right, and defense is taking a holiday tonight, Mitch. It just seems like open the barn door and let him go.
And a tough job for a goaltender to have to come in and into a game where the floodgates are open, so to speak, where they're really playing offensive-minded with some good goal scorers out on the ice.
Johansson off the ensuing faceoff fanned on his wrist shot attempt. So the Polar Bears will watch as UMass will break. Plaza, Movsession, and Ward on ice. Very dangerous. Here they come again. Plaza, Ward, Movsession, and he's robbed by goaltender Darren Hirsch, his best save of the night. Hirsch in relief of this evening's starting goaltender Bruce Wilson, coming up big there. Kravchuk now. Pincock, one-timer as they try to go bing-bing for Delaney. And goaltender Del Vecchio, alert to that play, smelled it out and flashed up the right pad to deny.
Well, baptism by fire for both goaltenders who came on in relief here in the second period, and they've had to be sharp on a number of occasions with some point-blank opportunities for the Polar Bears and for the Beacons so far. In a 1-goal game right now, very high scoring, and I can think the fans here can only look for more goals.
Terry Mahar, who's always been blessed with outstanding goaltending, as far as you think back, when you go to the Coops, the Szanskis, the Menzies, Provencher, Doyle, Pardis, Rabator, Janis, and he's got to break in 2 rookies this season. I've never seen him go so often to the water bottle. He's got the dry mouth. He's always got the fist clenching. It's going to be a tough season for his young Polar Bears, but they've done admirably so far. Flipping it ahead. Butner controlling Alan Kartner now for the Polar Bears. In the middle he goes to Richard. Richard lays through for Nelson. Nelson eyed there by the defense combination coming across to make the play. It's Steve Gosling. Gosling loses to Nelson. Right point, Ash. Big drive, goes wide on the short side. He was looking for a tip. This is Richard. Wrist shot drive. Del Vecchio makes a save. Bats the rebound out of the way. And now Richard will tie up in the right wing corner. He's for Jenkins. Jenkins bothered, knocked off the play by Aben, and Jim Aben will break it back. Aben hooked down by Nelson. Paul Nelson's going to get the gate. Time of the penalty, 14 minutes, 58 seconds, 2 minutes for hooking the call, and UMass Boston will get its 3rd power play chance of the night. Interestingly enough, the Polar Bears have yet to get the manpower advantage.
And we'd alluded to the power play and penalty killing percentages for the Polar Bears a little earlier. Not clicking on the power play this year as well as they would like to see. 16%, you'd like to be up somewhere in the 20s. Opponents hitting for 28% of their power play opportunities. Tonight, though, the Polar Bears able to kill off the only two previous Beacon power play opportunities. That came on a 5-on-3 situation earlier on in the first period.
A big kill when you look back in retrospect at the way this game has panned out. 2 men down could have been a golden opportunity for UMass. Diffley, Klapman, Johansson, and Mirasolo. 4 on ice for Terry Mahar to kill this one. Plaza, Ward, Movsession up front. No big surprise there from Bill Stewart. This is Plaza behind the net. Lays through for Ward. Ward eyed there by Mirasolo. Sneaking out. Down low for Plaza, who loves to operate behind the net. This is Movsession. Movsession, who's got the 4th goal of the night for UMass. For Plaza. Knocked down there by Klapman. Movsession regains. Movsession, left wing circle, swept that there by Johansson. Give and go, tries to get the return pass from Plaza, fails to connect. O'Connor pinching down left point, keeps Johansson hemmed in, but Klapman steps up and sends it the length of the ice. 1:10 left in the power play opportunity. O'Connor for UMass. Shuffles the deck and starts to break out one more time. A feed ahead for Ward. Lays through for Plaza with Movsession on the right. There he is. Movsession. Hawked at by Diffley. Movsession tries to center it one-handed, and Hirsch, alert to that, intercepting and making the quick cover with the glove.
Well, freshman goaltender Darren Hirsch, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, out of Lawrence Academy, and his high school coach, Charlie Corey, now at Colby. And Corey was commenting to me a few weeks ago about the struggles that Darren Hirsch has experienced as a freshman goaltender, trying to make the adjustment to college hockey, and said it was a lot like that when he came in as Lawrence Academy, a freshman goaltender. He struggled a little bit, very nervous trying to make that adjustment, but once he settled down in goal for Coach Corey, had a fine career and was an outstanding goaltender for 3 years for the Lawrence Academy team.
Darren Hirsch barking out some instruction. His team tries to get a shorthanded bid. Hirsch trying to position his penalty killers before that face-off. And it almost worked out very well as Cashin and Chin were nearly sent in alone. Dumped right back in. Del Vecchio has trouble handling that one. Leaves a loose rebound. Cashin, lovely move. He's got Chin right there. One-timer goes wide on the short side. Cashin puts on the brakes. Does a great job to kill some time. Outstanding work by Steve Cashin. Brad Chin now sneaking out near wing corner. Just 17 seconds left in the power play for UMass, and they finally steal it away from Cashin and Chin. What a great job up front. Higgins dumps back, too far for the breaking winger. Now coming in here, Stan Fawcett. Fawcett hooked off the play by McLean. Fawcett leaves for Fleming. Polar Bears back to even strength. Sneaking out, short side drive. And goaltender Hirsch got the blocking glove on that. Liebig will step up and intercept. Polar Bears have a 3-on-1 if they break quickly. Here's Brad Chin. He's got Liebig with him. Tries a centering feed, sliding to the ice. Good job to break it up. Chin on the wraparound. Tucker, backhand drive. What moves by Chin? As he tried to get a little bit too fancy, go with the spinning backhand, and that just went wide. Pretty to watch. Brad Chin in motion. Kravchuk does a nice job one-on-one to seal Dan Fawcett from the play. Under 3 minutes left to go in the second period. Polar Bears on top 5-3. Kavanaugh's big drive broken down. Liebig following on the backhand, can't get it towards goal. Polar Bears putting on some great pressure. This is Liebig wedged to the boards there by Bill Higgins. 2 of the taller players on the ice surface combining. And here's Jeff Wood, one of the quicker players stealing away. Wood out of Santa Ana, California. Not an unlikely hotbed. Here comes Charles Ward. One-on-one against Kartner. Kartner does a nice job to stand him up and ride him off the play. Kartner along with Ward, now Movsession there. As the Beacons had the manpower advantage in the corner and come away with the puck. Movsession with Ash. Now low for Plaza. Ward battling with Kartner in the slot. And some of the fans up on the near wing saying, you got to take those guys off. And Charles Ward, I believe, going to be whistled for a crease violation as he was hovered in the slot, guarded closely there by Alan Kartner, and the whistle will come out into the neutral zone. Ward in the crease.
Joe, Alan Kartner is a name that we haven't called a lot tonight, but the senior defenseman, one of only 2 3-year letter winners for the Polar Bears. He's the kind of guy that we were alluding to a little earlier with the experience in big playoff-type hockey games, been doing a solid job back there, not flashy, and you're not going to call his name a lot, but that's because he's doing his job.
If you're enjoying tonight's action on Casco Cable Channel 13, we'll sure you'll enjoy this Sunday at 7 p.m. halftime at Dinelli's. Live sports talk show. This week's guest is Dave Burke, the sports editor of the Times Record, so make sure you tune in, Cable Channel 13 this Sunday for halftime at Dinelli's. Back to the live play we go. Darren Hirsch holds and leads for the turning stick of Jim Kleppman. 1:15 left to go in period number 2. The Polar Bears led 3-1 after 1, and they have kept the same margin of lead by a 5-3 count now as we approach the 40-minute mark. Breaking back here, look out. Charles Plaza dangerous. Left wing feed ahead, and a good job by Tomas Johansson back-checking as he stepped up in front of the breaking Dan Moynihan. Butner down low for Plaza as Bill Stewart has shuffled his deck a little bit. Gone with a double shifting of Charles Plaza at center on this line. Diffley tries to spring Pincock a bit too far. Icing will be the call as Ray Diffley had the right idea. He had the eyes up looking ahead for the breaking winger.
Polar Bears like to counterattack, look for those breakaway opportunities, those long feeds to their speedy forwards and speedy wingers, and many a goal for the Polar Bears this year has come on plays just like that, as players like Chin, Cash, and Delaney able to get behind the defense using their quickness, and the defensemen taught to look up for those long passes and be aware of those breakaway opportunities.
A nice play there, a nice idea by Ray Diffley as he had two UMass defenders impeding that pass right in the pathway of the feed. He had to flip it. He scaled it up ahead. It came down perfectly, landing right at Pincock's feet. He just couldn't trap it, or else he would have been in alone on the right wing boards.
Joe, you mentioned Ward, Plaza, and Museshian a lot tonight, especially Ward getting some double shifting. The Polar Bears have had trouble with big lines against some of their opponents. We'll get to that a little later.
And that's understandable, of course, Mitch. Not the biggest of Polar Bear teams this season. A lot of quickness, but not a great deal of size. UMass keeps them hemmed in. 28 seconds left to go in the second period. Peter Kravchuk throwing some muscle around. Centering feed by Abbott. Glove down by McLean. McLean loses it. Big drive. Big stop there by goaltender Hirsch as he robs the right winger Steve Gosling. Gosling looking for his third of the night. And Hirsch very sharp there. Gosling one more time and Hirsch again. Whipping out the right pad to deny. Darren Hirsch coming off the bench in spot duty and playing extremely well. And there, the final horn of the second period goes. And the Polar Bears, who came in with a 3-1 lead, a 2-goal cushion after 1, have seen that lead trimmed to 1 after 40 minutes of play. Bowdoin 5, UMass Boston 4. When Mitch and I return, we'll recap the second period scoring, and then Mitch and I will take a look at the playoff race in the ECAC East-West. All that and more in between 2 and 3. This is Bowdoin College Polar Bear Hockey.
Brunswick Federal Savings wants to change the way you manage your checkbook with our Now Checking account. Keep a minimum balance of just $250, and you won't find a single service charge on your next statement, not one. Keep an average balance of $500 or more, and you'll earn 5.25% interest on every dollar. Open a Now Checking account today.
Here at Brunswick Federal, we have you to thank. We're proud to hear you say, yes, my friend.
Domino's Pan Pizza. Nobody delivers better.
Forming a gang of hardened criminals isn't easy.
Gonna get nailed!
It means carefully planning ahead.
What are we gonna do? Rob it and then run away on foot?
It means following the leader.
We got him!
Run! We found him! I'm gonna kill him!
And it means being chased by ruthless lawmen.
I ain't going after him by myself!
Corbin Burnson, Lou Diamond Phillips, Ruben Blades, Fred Gwynn, and Ed O'Neill star in a crime wave that's all washed up. Disorganized crime on Showtime.
Welcome back to Bowdoin College's Dayton Arena. We are in between periods 2 and 3 tonight. Joe Beninati alongside of Mitch Price. Mitch, Bowdoin College's Sports Information Director, and the Polar Bears clinging to a 1-goal lead after 40 minutes of play. Bowdoin on top of UMass Boston 5-4. Mitch, so far an interesting game, a lot of offense.
Well, the Polar Bears and the Beacons hooking up in an offensive show back in January, the 16th, down on the Harbor campus. 7-5 was the final there. And again, we're seeing kind of a replay of that tonight. I think Terry Mahar would have liked to see the defense shored up a little bit tonight. I know that was a concern of his after the weekend. And so far it hasn't been the case, but he's going up against some big scorers for UMass Boston, some good offensive threats.
Both of these coaches playing Captain Hook, I think, Mitch, in the second period. Both of them yanking their starting goaltenders. Terry Mahar taking Bruce Wilson out of the contest. Bill Stewart countering by lifting Bill O'Neill. And I think Darren Hirsch has been a boost.
Well, especially in the last few seconds of that period, making 2 big stops on Goslin there. That's going to give him the kind of confidence that I think we were talking about a little earlier that he sometimes needs, and I think any goaltender needs at that, for that point. Get a little confidence, and they really can up their level of play.
A wild second period of scoring. 5 goals in total. Mitch, you can wrap it up for us.
Well, the Polar Bears getting on the scoreboard first in the second period. Chris Delaney all alone in front, making a great move and showing great patience there as he waited in front of goaltender O'Brien, went to the backhand assist on that one coming from Jim Pincock and Tomas Johansson. Beacons, though, answering that 4:57 mark of period number 2. Ward getting the goal, the backhander in front. That caused Coach Terry Mahar to lift goaltender Bruce Wilson, opting for Darren Hirsch. Plaza drawing an assist on that one. And just less than a minute later, Steve Goslin, assists going to Jim Aben and Billy Innocent, getting the Beacons right back in the game. Steve Cashin, assist from line mate Brad Chin, giving the Polar Bears their 2-goal cushion again, 9:32 mark. Polar Bears getting back up 5-3, but then the Beacons closing the gap again. Larry Museshin, one of their big goal scorers, assist going to Plaza and Ward as they, a nice passing play. Ward, a good individual effort behind the net, centering it out to Museshin, and he got the goal scorer there for the Beacons.
So we've seen the people we've expected to score tonight, and when we return, Mitch and I are going to take you on a little playoff preview, if you will. ECAC East-West action coming down to the stretches, and we'd like to get your opinions on it, and if you'll join us, we'd love to have you down the stretch. The ECAC East-West playoffs, always a great share.
Should be exciting. Polar Bears looking to return to the ECAC final for the 3rd straight year, and I think the Polar Bear fans and players looking forward to that stretch run.
We'll be back with more with Mitch Price right after this. You're watching Bowdoin College Polar Bear Hockey on Casco Cable, Channel 13.
Poland snow throwers. Still handcrafted and cast iron tough. So go ahead, take the Boland's Performance Challenge and check out the complete line of snow throwers. Backed by the best warranty in the business, these cast iron tough snow throwers offer easy payment terms and prices as low as $3.99. So go ahead, take the Boland's Performance Challenge.
Available at Bowdoin Lawn and Tractor, Lewiston Road, Topsom.
In February, Cinemax is fired up for romance.
Romance.
Yeah, romance. With more movies, more choice. Cinemax in February. You'll flip for it. Call now.
Wilson's Drug has been a friendly neighbor to Bath residents for over 70 years. They're friendly, qualified, and caring pharmacists who know the difference between you and your prescription number. Wilson's is also the only pharmacy in Bath who delivers to their customers. Come in and meet everyone at Wilson's. You'll be glad you did.
Back to the Bowdoin College Dayton Arena. We're in between periods 2 and 3. Joe Beninati, joined by Bowdoin College Sports Information Director Mitch Price. And Mitch, we've had the opportunity to see the Polar Bears play in postseason competition the last, 7 or 8 years that Terry Mahar has been in Brunswick. It appears that that's shaping up again this season. Terry Mahar's Chargers in 3rd place in the ECAC East, a 7-4-1 record. Both of the teams ahead of them, however, own victories over them.
Well, Babson College Beavers currently 1 notch ahead of the Polar Bears in 2nd place in the ECAC East. They've beaten Bowdoin twice this year, here in the Dayton Arena in November, and then down in the Wellesley, Babson Recreation Center in Wellesley, and the Middlebury Panthers, who are currently in the top spot in the ECAC East, coming in this weekend with a very impressive 6-3 victory over the Polar Bears, and right now they're in the driver's seat for the top spot and the top seed in the upcoming ECAC playoffs.
Fans who know Bowdoin College Polar Bear hockey certainly not surprised by seeing Babson on top of the conference rankings. the Beavers have a great hockey team, and what's their strength? It's always been defense and goaltending, and I think Joe Caprini will have a lot to do with it down the stretch.
Well, Joe Caprini has established himself as the top goaltender in the ECAC East this year. He's leading in the goals against and the save percentage categories, 10th round draft choice of the New York Islanders. And Babson plays a very strong team defensive effort in front of him. Forwards back-checking, blocking shots very often, and giving him a lot of help. So with a strong goaltender and a strong team defensive setup in front of him, Babson looks very good for the playoffs.
Middlebury College Panthers, whom Polar Bear faithful saw this past weekend, sporting 7 Canadians in the lineup, Mitch, and they're loaded, but they haven't been in playoff competition very much, and perhaps a chance for them to break. We saw them play the Polar Bears so closely last year in a quarterfinal round matchup. I think each year they're looking to build on that.
Well, they're a lot like an AIC team of a few years ago, with a lot of young players who come into the playoff situation last year. Middlebury did for the first time in a number of years, getting their feet wet, and this year most of those same players are back, a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more experienced, and I think they're definitely one of the top few teams to look out for in the playoffs. They were very impressive on Saturday, and a lot of Canadian players, as you mentioned, the goaltender Brent Trouchon, ECAC Rookie of the Year last year. Their top line, 2 of the 3 players hailing from Canada, including Mark Alcindor and Kent Hughes, who was their leading scorer last year. They have a lot of offensive firepower and a good goaltender themselves to up in the ranks of a Joe Caprini.
I think I heard AIC somewhere in there, and Vizio Socratini has made his way to Italy, but that hasn't slowed down the Yellow Jackets at all.
The Yellow Jackets losing their top scorer, Socratini, after the midway point of the season. He's signing a professional contract to play in Italy, but they really haven't missed a beat. They came back, beat the Babson Beavers 6-4, tied the Merrimack Warriors, who are now playing in the Hockey East, Division I Hockey East, with a 4-4 game there, and they're currently in the hunt for a home ice playoff berth, and if not, they'll certainly have something to say in that first round of the playoffs. A very explosive offensive team.
Another team that boasts a lot of offense, and perhaps the most important thing when you talk about playoff competition, a hot goaltender, and Dino Daphniotis, just brilliant this past weekend.
Well, great name there, Dino Daphniotis, coming in with the Norwich Cadets. They're currently trailing the Polar Bears by 1 notch, 4th place. They're in line for some home ice, and he's played outstanding hockey lately. I think I alluded to it a little bit earlier in the broadcast, defeating this very UMass Boston team by a 6-1 score, defeating the Union Flying Dutchman, a ECAC West Power, 4-1. He carried shutouts into the third period of both of those games, played very well, and he was the star of the game against the Polar Bears Friday night. 37 shots the Polar Bears fired at him. Bowdoin out shooting Norwich 37-22, but Norwich on the strong play of Daphniotis able to stay in the game and get the game-winning goal in the last minute and 19 seconds to come out of here with a victory.
Tell us about some of the teams on the outside looking in, the teams who are on the bubble, if you will.
Well, this UMass Boston team is on the bubble. They're outside looking in right now. Colby College in 8th place right now. They haven't been in the playoffs the last couple of years, so head coach Charlie Corey has had them playing well. But UMass Boston, the University of Connecticut, a team that came in here early in the season and gave the Polar Bears an excellent game. Those are 2 of the teams that will be looking in and in this last few weeks of the season, looking to get to that 8th spot currently occupied by Colby.
Always exciting when it comes to playoff time. When we come back here to the Bowdoin College Dayton Arena, we'll have the 3rd and final period of regulation time. You're watching Bowdoin College Polar Bear Hockey on Casco Cable, Channel 13.
You didn't mean to rear-end the guy. You just didn't see him stop. And you never expected to miss a mortgage payment, but then again, you didn't know you had a heart problem. Thompson, Desmond, and Payne Insurance has been insuring against life surprises for over 65 years. For your auto, home, and disability insurance, call Greg Musk at Thompson, Desmond, and Payne Insurance, 115 Front Street in Bath.
If you've been wondering what's inside J.R. Maxwell's door, well, it's a friendly staff serving delicious charbroiled sirloin steaks and fillets. It's the best restaurant in Bath for lobster, fresh fish broiled and fried in heaping portions. It's a relaxed atmosphere with great chicken, veal, and creative daily specials. It's our famous prime rib special on Friday and Saturday. And don't forget the friendly staff at the restaurant in Bath, J.R. Maxwell's.
Welcome back to the Dayton Arena on the campus of Bowdoin College. The Bowdoin College Polar Bears in action this evening against the UMass Boston Beacons. I'm Mitch Price, and I'm joined tonight by Joe Beninati. The Polar Bears getting 2 goals from Tomas Johansson. The Beacons 2 goals from Steve Goslin. Polar Bears holding a 1-goal advantage going into the final 20 minutes of play. Joe, your second look at the Polar Bears this evening. What do you think about this Bowdoin College team?
Well, I think it's the same kind of team that Terry Mahar seems to mold every year. A team with great speed, a team that's not terribly big at all in terms of size, but a team that can just flat out scare you when they're skating well and passing well, and that's the key. As we look at some of the Dayton Arena crowd coming in tonight, anxious to see their Polar Bears get back on the winning ways, as Bowdoin, for the first time in some 15 seasons, suffering consecutive losses on home ice in conference play. I think they've overdone that to a point where they've almost turned themselves inside out and said, well, we've got to make some drastic changes. I think if they keep to their game plan, they can just out-talent some of these clubs. And that's not to say that UMass Boston is inferior in any strength. The UMass Boston Beacons have done a fantastic job to stay in this hockey game. They could have very easily turned out of this one, and had it not been for that man in the right corner of the screen, Bruce Wilson, our starting goaltender tonight, just leaving Darren Hirsch. Darren Hirsch coming up with a pair of great saves down the stretch to keep the UMass Boston Beacons just a goal behind. So we have a dandy shaping up in period number 3, but to more directly address your question, I don't think this team has to panic just yet. It's a team that has some veterans. It's a team that has had some players go through playoff wars, and I don't think Terry Mahar is going to push the panic button just yet. UMass Boston Beacons go left to right. Road Blues trimmed in gold and white. Polar Bears right to left. The home ice trimmed in silver and black. Back underway. Even strength we go. Final 19 minutes and 50 seconds of regulation time. The Polar Bears lead by 1. Jim Clapman. Ray Diffley returns for Clapman. Eyed there by the forechecking of Charlie Ward. Brian Ward, Charles Plaza, and Larry Movsesian up front for UMass Boston head coach Bill Stewart. Jim Clapman peels back into his own territory to set the breakout. Bothered there by Movsesian. His pass comes in directly to Liebig, and Liebig will scale it ahead. Jeff Wood trying to break, and stepping in his path was Greg McGlane. Higgins, big rangy defenseman, moves it back to the neutral zone. Higgins will wind and blast up over the right shoulder of goaltender Darren Hirsch. Hirsch in relief of this evening's starting netminder Bruce Wilson. Wilson sent to the bench after giving up 3 goals early on. Steve Cashin cutting in early on in the second period. We should mention that Bruce Wilson was lifted. Played an admirable first period of play. Gave up 2 goals in the span of under a minute of play in the second period, and then was given the hook. Aben, right wing turnaround drive there by Steve Gosling, who has 2 of those goals, and that one wrapped off the near post. Cashin ahead for Mirasolo. Mirasolo leaves for Cashin. He's got Chin on the wide wing. Right on in, and Del Vecchio comes way out of the net to deny the breaking right winger. McLean for Kravchuk, the return from McLean. Lays through for Mirasolo, and a whistle blown. Not quite sure why. As behind the play, Pierre Boulanger goes to the left post, and you see him adjusting it, perhaps the net off its moorings. The only thing I could suggest, Mitch.
Well, I think that was the call there by the referee, stopping the play, adjusting the net. And as the Polar Bears holding just a 1-goal advantage, we should just reiterate the UMass Boston Beacons, their last 4 games, the Beacons really been working overtime. You can say all overtime games, 3 ties and a loss coming to Salem State. But they're used to these tight games coming down the stretch.
McLean gives it away, and bringing it right back in was Bill Butner, astride offside. Gives us a chance to thank J.R. Maxwell's. J.R. Maxwell's, 122 Front Street in Bath. Friendly staff, great food, and a comfortable atmosphere. Don't forget the prime rib specials every Friday and Saturday night at J.R. Maxwell's, 122 Front Street in Bath. Pair of 15s right in the center of your screen, locking up on the draw. Delaney wins it as he strips it clean from Mike Dalton. Peter Kravchuk ahead for Delaney off of his stick. Delaney gives chase, racing down against Bill Innocent. Delaney, great speed. Innocent forced to hook him off the play. No whistle blown. The Polar Bears have yet to get a power play chance from this evening's referees. The UMass Boston Beacons have had the advantage on 3 separate occasions and are 0 for 3. This is Jim Pincock in full stride. Lets it go, and Del Vecchio gets the pad on that one. Rebound, right wing corner. Here's Delaney kicking it back across for McLean. McLean winds up, had to send it high over the sliding forward there to block it. Centering feed by Pincock doesn't connect for Delaney. Dalton strips, but now Johansson picks his pocket before being blasted to the boards. Delaney lays through Pincock. Rebound Delaney, he scores! Chris Delaney! Second of the night for the shifty center iceman from Watertown.
Second goal of the night, Joe, on a great second effort as he goes after his own rebound there. The loose puck out in front of Vince Del Vecchio, able to put that one home. And that's a big goal for the Polar Bears, is coming out with just a one-goal advantage here. The first goal of the third period was going to be a big one. Bowdoin gets that, and they have the 6-4 lead, 17:24 left to play in regulation time.
Polar Bears gain that 2-goal cushion back. All important as John Ash turns in front of Darren Hirsch. This is Brad Jenkins. Jenkins along with Richard and Nelson. Jenkins tries to put a little dipsy-do move on the line, kept in by Kartner. His drive broken up. Look out, UMass Boston might break back here. Here's Mo Session, right wing circle, turned away by Ash. Down low, centering feed, and that one comes right to the waiting stick of Jenkins. Jenkins centering for Nelson, and Nelson will be forced to turn back. Nelson ahead for Ash. Asher to the middle for Nelson. Nelson loses an edge. Play delayed offside coming, and now none forthcoming as the Beacons tag back up. Loose in the neutral zone, collecting it here for UMass Boston, but giving it right away was the winger Greg McGlane. Helping in his Kartner. He'll get the line change for the Polar Bears. Higgins turns behind the net. Left wing they come. Beacons moving it out. 6-4, Polar Bears lead. Glad you've joined us tonight on Casco Cable Channel 13. Coming from Bowdoin College's Dayton Arena, Joe Beninati alongside of Mitch Price. Clapman tying up. Good job of defensive zone pressure. Clapman forces it off the stick. We have a delayed minor penalty coming here, and it is going to be the first of the night. Whistle to UMass Boston. The call going to be checking from behind, Mitch. The time of the penalty, 3 minutes, 54 seconds. And the Polar Bears get a big boost here. A key opportunity, perhaps, to put the lock on this one.
Well, they're up by 2 right now. An excellent opportunity to give them the 3-goal advantage. Something that they haven't been able to do recently in games with Williams and Norwich on consecutive Friday nights. They've had situations where they've been leading in the third period by a goal and had opportunities to increase that lead to maybe give, as you mentioned, the kind of the knockout punch, and they haven't been able to do it. The other teams have been able to get back into the game, and in the Williams game it was a tie. In the Norwich game, unfortunately for Polar Bear fans, it was a loss. So right here, Bowdoin looking to deliver that knockout punch.
A lot of speed out there. Clapman and Diffley at the blue line. Delaney, Chin, and Cashin up front. A lot of wheels. And here's Chris Delaney starting it up. Delaney, a pair of goals. Johansson, a pair of goals among the Bowdoin 6 tonight. Jim Clapman, away from the checking of Mosession. Mosession steals. Right point, Butner. Wrist shot drive, broken up by Delaney. Play still loose, and Butner will keep. He'll take the drive. Nobody comes at him, and goaltender Hirsch turns it away on the angle. Clapman will move. Polar Bears look to break 4-on-3. Clapman at the line, stood up by Butner, and sending it right back the length of the ice, Dave O'Connor. Polar Bear power play continues to struggle. This is Ray Diffley. A left wing lead for Delaney. Delaney will race back. 3-on-2 if they hurry. Delaney finds Chin. Right on in. Backhand feed looking for Cashin, and that just misfired. Controlling for UMass and moving them slowly out of their own territory. Fleming will scale the length of the ice. 45 seconds left in the power play. 14:51 in regulation time. Polar Bears lead by a deuce. 6-4. Brad Chin forces it back into the neutral zone, but collecting there for UMass Boston will be Higgins. Will rifle it right back. Hirsch slows it down and leaves for Kravchuk. Diffley, a left wing feed for Cashin. He's forced to regroup. Comes back for Diffley one more time. 20 seconds left in the power play. Final rush time now for the Polar Bears. Diffley holds. Waits. Centers. As that was broken up by Higgins as he tried to get it through to the net with Pincock looking for a loose rebound. Kravchuk retreats once more for Cashin. 5 seconds left in the manpower advantage. Higgins cuts down Cashin, and we are going to get another power play for the Polar Bears. Bill Higgins going to get the gate. Penalty going to be 2 minutes for slashing to Higgins. The time of the call, 5 minutes and 53 seconds. So the Polar Bears, who just failed on their previous opportunity, get one back-to-back.
And that's really not going to make UMass Boston head coach Bill Stewart happy. The last thing in the world you want to do when you're down 2 goals is to get a penalty. And even worse to get two back-to-back, because not only are you giving the Polar Bears an excellent opportunity to increase their two-goal lead, that's also 2 minutes where you're not going to get a lot of good scoring opportunities. And as the game winds down to the final few minutes, we've got 14:07 left to play now. You need all the time on the offensive as you can get. And UMass Boston, we're going to go another 2 minutes here on the defensive.
Dave O'Connor meeting there in the left wing corner with Brad Chin. Trying to clear, kept in by Kravchuk. Kravchuk has it knocked over back across the blue line and into neutral zone territory, so the Polar Bears will be forced to regroup. Kleppman hits the rewinding Brad Chin. Chin cut down. Could have been another call there, but the referees turn a deaf ear to that one. And sending it the length of the ice will be Mike Dalton. Hirsch leaves for Kleppman. Kleppman waits for Delaney to revolve back and start the breakout. Delaney carrying the mail through the neutral zone. Lead for Cashin. Cashin tried to get it right back to Delaney, and that just failed to connect, so Cashin will speed his way back in. Cutting in, puts on the brakes. Leaves for Chin. Sneaking his way in. Right on in, and the backhand, it just went off his stick. Would have been a beauty. Chin sneaking out. Loses control, and breaking back here is Bubba McNeese. Poked off his stick by Kravchuk. Nice job, but trapped offside on the play. Cashin, Delaney, and Chin. 1:01 left to go in the power play.
Joe, again, we had a good look at Brad Chin coming in and again going to the backhand move. Talking to Polar Bear netminder Tom Eccleston, one of Bowdoin's 4 goaltenders in the program. He says in practice the goaltenders will know that Brad Chin's going to come down and put that move on him, and they still can't do anything about it. That he's so quick with that move that even if you know it's coming, you can't do anything about it.
He's got great hand. He just takes it and he tucks it so fast on you, it's in the net. Johansson will move back. Cutting in, wedge to the boards, good defensive job, good pressure there put on by Greg McLean. Kept in, right point, Kirkner, wrist shot through a screen, deflected, goes wide on the near side. Mirasolo finds Pincock. Point deftly, tries, stick save Del Vecchio. Mirasolo hunting for a rebound, and Del Vecchio will find it beneath the pads.
Good opportunity there for the Polar Bears. That's what you want to do on the power play. Get some low shots on the point, and the wings from the sides crashing in the net, looking for those rebounds. That time, Del Vecchio, with the assistance of defenseman Larry Butner, able to cover up on that. Polar Bears not able to have a rebound opportunity there, but that's what they're looking for from the slap shot from the point, the rebound opportunity.
34 seconds left to go in the power play. 12 minutes, 41 seconds left to go in regulation time. Bowdoin leading 6-4. Mirasolo, Pincock, Johansson up front. In the middle of your screen, Mirasolo wins the draw. One-timer there for Diffley, and Del Vecchio quick to turn the left skate and deny there. Sending it the length of the ice, Polar Bears will be forced to regroup one more time. Just 20 seconds left in this, their second consecutive power play. Hadn't had a power play through the first 2 periods of play, and then had 2 back-to-back in a 4-minute stretch. Pincock turning away from the defensive pressure. Now leaves for Mirasolo. Points for Diffley. One more time. Deflected wide on the short side. Pincock jams the rebound and scores! Jim Pincock!
Joe, that time Jim Pincock alertly pouncing on a rebound that came off the backboards. That shot from Ray Diffley from the point going wide of the net, but the rebound came right out where Jim Pincock wanted it, and goaltender Del Vecchio not able to get over to the left side of the net quickly enough, and Jim Pincock on a fortuitous bounce for the Polar Bears off the end wall, putting Bowdoin up by 3 goals with just 12 minutes, 11 seconds left in regulation time.
7, and they want more here in the Dayton Arena. 12 minutes and 11 seconds away. The Polar Bears from putting this one away. A 3-goal cushion. Not ever out of the woods or Bowdoin, but they've got to be pleased with the way the offensive production has come tonight. Del Vecchio scales it off the near wing. A 3-goal cushion, as big a lead as the Polar Bears have held tonight. Prior to this, they led 4-1. This is Kavanaugh. Wrist shot goes wide. Jeff Wood putting on the pressure as Bowdoin looks to get some more. A team that has struggled offensively this season, looking to take a little bit of a holiday tonight against the struggling UMass Boston defense. Wood will send it in. Kavanaugh sent to the boards by Higgins. Kavanaugh wedged off, now leaves for Wood. Wood eludes the checking of Higgins. He's got Nelson camped out in the slot, but can't get it to him. Mofsessin chops it back in the neutral zone. Alan Kirkner for John Ash. Ash will move it away and send it in. Polar Bears now, PLI turns to be the clock. Still plenty of time left for UMass Boston. The Polar Bears are whittling away at that clock down under 9 minutes. Here comes a breaking obsession. Goaltender Hirsch out with the poke check. As we are now 9 minutes played in period number 3. 11 minutes left to go as Jenkins cuts in on the breakaway and scores! Brad Jenkins on a broken play at the line, and the Polar Bears have the route going.
So this is just what a struggling offensive Bowdoin team needs here. 8 goals now already, still 11 minutes to play in the period. That time Brad Jenkins getting only his 2nd goal of the year and getting a lot of players in the scoring column here. Terry Mahar has to be happy right now.
Well, sometimes you very rarely see goaltending changes. Sometimes you see one, and very seldom do you get to see 2. But Bill Stewart is going to make another goaltending change as he will insert his 3rd netminder of the night, Tom April, if I am pronouncing that one correct. Now between the pipes has been as Del Vecchio gets lifted. So the Polar Bears, who have sprinted now to an 8-4 lead and have forced head coach Bill Stewart of the UMass Boston Beacons to call time, and that man, Terry Mahar, slowly realizing that the night that looked like it might be quite difficult as we head into the final period of play, perhaps getting a touch easier.
Well, this is, as I just mentioned, exactly what the doctor ordered for the Polar Bears. Get some offensive production going here. UMass Boston right now calling the timeout. Tom April coming in goal. He's been in action the last 3 games, all overtime affairs. This one right now doesn't look like it'll head into the extra session for the Beacons. Their first break. Take a look at the UMass Boston
There's
bench.
a good look at Bill Stewart holding court and giving some lectures, I would think, to a defense corps that has just left its goaltenders in the wind. Del Vecchio left alone there as Brad Jenkins snuck in off the wing. It just seemed like it came out of nowhere. And Jenkins, yet another forward with good speed, sneaking in. He went between the pads of Del Vecchio, and that signaled the end of the night for Del Vecchio and the onset of the 3rd UMass Boston netminder of the night, Tom April. Polar Bears lead by 4, 10 minutes, 30 seconds left to go in this one. Cutting back in, Jim Aben, astride offside, gives us an opportunity to thank yet another of tonight's sponsors. We would like to thank Brunswick Federal Savings at 186 Main Street in Brunswick, combining all the personal service of a small-town bank with competitive rates on savings accounts and certificates of deposit. Brunswick Federal Savings, 186 Main Street in Brunswick.
Joe, on the last Bowdoin goal, Paul Nelson and Darren Hirsch, the goaltender, drawing assists. I think the thing notable about Darren Hirsch's assist on the play is that it came off of an aggressive move out of the goal by him, coming out to poke check the loose puck that was loose high in the Bowdoin zone, and that's good to see, displaying a little confidence there, I think, on the part of Darren Hirsch. Sometimes he looks a little tentative in goal, not on that play, as he aggressively came out of the net, no hesitation on his part involved whatsoever, and poke check the puck, he ends up getting an assist on the play.
Polar Bears offside as we return to the live play. To continue with that, again, a lot of confidence shown by Hirsch because he came out and challenged Movsession, who was coming in, one of the more dangerous wingers. He comes out, makes a nice poke check, and it somehow spearheads the play the other direction, and all of a sudden Brad Jenkins is squirting in alone on the breakaway. Makes no mistake, and the Polar Bears have their biggest goal lead of the night. They lead by 4. McLean for Kravchuk. Kravchuk has some problems with it as the good forechecking by UMass Boston keeps him in his own defensive territory. Butner down low, one-timer, and goaltender Hirsch got the left arm on that one to rob Dan Fleming. Hirsch has done a fine job coming in relief of Bruce Wilson, allowing just 1 goal. Wrist shot sent in, and again, Hirsch high in the angle of the challenge, waffling it away with the blocking glove. UMass will dump it right back in. McLean away from the forechecking of Fleming. Kravchuk, beautiful breakout for the Polar Bears. One-timing it away, it's Kravchuk to Johansson. Now Delaney pulls the trigger, lays through for Chin, tries to get it to Johansson, who's looking for the hat trick, and that one swept out of harm's way by the defenseman Lou Tomasello. Ahead for Aben, leaves for Fleming, cutting in, tries to use Diffley as a screen, and Diffley broke it up and left Delaney to start it back. Pincock in full stride along with Johansson. Eye to eye with the defensive pressure of Bill Innocent, Pincock tries to play back to the point. Has it come right back to him, 4 players combining in the corner. Johansson along with Pincock, finally squirts free along the near wing boards. Diffley looks on, Pincock leaves for Diffley, drive, and that's caught the outside of the net as goaltender April slow to turn out the right pad on that one. I don't think he ever saw it. Back they'll come, long feed on the money, breaking here to Bubba McNeese. McNeese behind the back feed. Pretty, and once again, Hirsch the stop. And he comes up big on the rebound, twice denying Mike Dalton. Darren Hirsch, since the latter portion of the second period, has been brilliant in a relief role tonight. Liebig will send it in. April out of the net, tries to cut it off. Very lackadaisical move there by Tom April. Doesn't cost him, however, as Lou Tomasello will break it free. Boom to the boards by Kartner. Wood and Kartner. And Kartner finally will send it in. Kartner looks to lay a hit on Dalton. Dalton manages to ward off Allen and dump it in to get the line change for Bill Stewart. 8:15 left to go in regulation time. The Polar Bears cruising up front 8-4. We have a whistle behind the play. Referee Pierre Boulanger with a call, and once again, immediately going to check the net. We'll have a neutral zone draw, and once again, it's somewhat quizzical, am I, about that call?
Well, they're checking the net on two different occasions tonight, and that one, again, a little strange. Darren Hirsch playing outstanding. You just alluded to it. I think two stories here tonight, especially in the third period. One, the awakening of the Polar Bear offense. Number two, the education of Darren Hirsch. I think he's really gaining confidence by the minute as he plays here, as he's coming up with big stop after big stop lately, and the longer he holds UMass off the scoreboard and the more big saves that he makes, the more confident he's going to get, and I think that's really important for Darren Hirsch.
I'd like to thank J&J Sports at 212 Main Street in Brunswick. J&J Sports, Brunswick's own four-season sporting goods shop. Skates, athletic shoes, hockey equipment, and accessories, plus a complete line of sporting goods, all at J&J Sports. To the live play we go, ripping the wrist shot wide on the glove hand side. There, quickly coming in to get a good shot on goal was Greg McLean, but he sent it wide. A good chance at a shot on goal, I should say. Mike Cavanaugh leaves for Kartner. Kartner has it knocked off of his stick, and play continues in the Polar Bear defensive zone. Plaza, along with Kartner, Liebig back to help out. Brian Ward will control. Met there by Mike Cavanaugh. John Ash, as the Polar Bears co-captains, combined to sandwich Ward. Ward wins the battle, however. Movsesian, left point, just over the stick of McLean, and he'll be forced to retreat. Higgins. Ward. Ward stood up there. Ash coming up to throw a big check, and Ward will send it in and get the line change. McLean behind the net. Tries to look up quickly and catch them napping. Nelson over skates. Tripped down there by the winger, Bubba McNeese. It works out perfectly, however, as Jenkins flies in. Higgins does a nice job to wedge him off the play. 7 minutes exactly left to go in this one. Polar Bears on top 8-4. Glad you've joined us tonight from the Bowdoin College Dayton Arena. Joe Bernardati along with Mitch Price. Derek Richard cutting in. Centering feed looking for Nelson, who's cut down. Jenkins hunting for a loose rebound. And finally, goaltender April quick to cover.
Well, that time you see one of the advantages that Paul Nelson has as a Bowdoin College forward that most of the other Polar Bear frontliners do not have is his size, 6'3" and well over 200 pounds. They're able to station himself in front of the goal. Not a whole lot of defensemen in the ECAC East able to move him out of the way. He's used that size advantage to tally 5 goals this season, his first season as a frontliner. And that gives a new dimension to the Polar Bear offense, some size in front of the net.
Big defenseman / left wing out of Excelsior, Minnesota. And referee Pierre Boulanger right in the middle of your screen there, having some words for the UMass Boston bench, getting set to drop it in between those two men. Derek Richard and Dave O'Connor set to get on the draw. And Boulanger will step across to lecture Bubba McNeese now. Back out of that circle, Bubba. I won't drop the puck until you let it go.
And not intimidated at all by the nickname Ed Bubba McNeese. He's going to have some words with him.
Derek Richard and Fleming one more time, and the draw is won by UMass Boston. Good low-angle look as Dave O'Connor will start it away. Gives it up right to the stick of Brad Jenkins. Cut down, no call. Centering feed for the breaking center iceman there on the play. Looking for Mark Bourgeois. Comes right to the waiting stick of Peter Kravchuk. Kravchuk, a feed for Nelson, too far. Looking for Jenkins. UMass will land it right back. This is Richard. Ahead for Jenkins. Jenkins, lovely move at the neutral zone line, but he just couldn't control it long enough as he left his feet. Left his blades to make a move away from the defenseman. But in so doing, lost control. Cutting back is Bourgeois. Centering feed towards the net, goes wide on the short side there as Dan Fossett was hoping for a miracle on a soft wrist shot. Mirasolo lays through for Cashin. Pretty play. Walking in and fires. He scores! Steve Cashin!
So that's 2 for Steve Cashin tonight, and that time this looked like he shot it right through the 5-hole, as you call it, right between the legs, and Polar Bears now 9 goals, and if there was any kind of offensive slump, they're really breaking out of it tonight as a trio of Polar Bear players have 2 goals on the night, one of them being Steve Cashin.
Polar Bears with 9 tonight, and they continue to want more. Look out, coming back here quickly, UMass Boston, right on it, cutting in, and goal, and defenseman Jim Clapman plays it to a T. The freshman defender playing the 2-on-1 brilliantly. Mirasolo, who started that play off with a pretty little lay-through for Cashin. Now Clapman, he's got Chin with him, hawked that by Aben, and finally, UMass will send it back. Stiffly. Bothered there by the forechecking of Aben, finally gets it off for Chin. In a race now with Johansson along with him. Chin trying to bull his way to the net. And the defender, Tomasello, would have none of that. Lou Tomasello, a left-wing lead. The Polar Bears are comfortably ahead in this one, 9-4, with just 5 minutes left to go in regulation time. April looks on as Tomasello reshuffles the deck one more time and moves UMass Boston away. Into the middle for Fleming. Giveaway. Diffley tries to move back. He's got a 3-man if he can hustle up on the play. Brad Ginn, dog-tired, needs the line change, and Diffley complies by sending it in to get it for Terry Mahar. Innocent. Left wing feet ahead, and right there, Jim Clapman smelled that play out and intercepting the play. Sends Jim Pincock back. Now for Clapman. Clapman cutting in. Great move. Tries to turn on Billy Innocent. Buck comes to Pincock. Return for Clapman. Centering feed for Pincock. And coming across was Tomasello to sweep that out of harm's way. Delaney. Now Pincock. Johansson dangerous in the slot. That pass right on the money. Just hopped over his stick as Pincock had to hit him with a hard pass in the slot. And Johansson just didn't have enough. And as Jim Clapman is hauled down to the ice, the Polar Bears, who have been very, very productive on offense in period number 3, going to get even greater chances as they'll get their 4th power play.
Well, right now I don't think the outcome is at all in doubt as the Polar Bears are up 5 goals, 4 minutes, 13 seconds to go. I think one thing that Terry Mahar would like to see is a productive 2 minutes from his power play unit, which has struggled a little bit this year. 1 power play marker for the Polar Bears tonight. I think he'd like to see them get out there, work the puck in the UMass defensive zone, and try to get that unit going, as that's been a little bit of a sore spot for Bowdoin this year.
Polar Bears equaling their highest output goal-wise of the season. 9 goals previously in the season against St. Anselm back in the 3rd game of the season, and then just 4 games ago, beating the Holy Cross Crusaders by a 9-2 count. So the Polar Bears, with 1 more here on the power play, would look for a double chili, as you would say back in old New York Islander days. Back on Long Island, double chili for any time anytime the Islanders scored in double digits. But we're not in pro hockey anymore. Back to the college game, and with under 3.5 minutes left to go, Peter Kravchuk wants the double chili. Not listening to me at all there, are they? Mike Cavanaugh walks in and blasts, and that one handled nicely by goaltender April as he was not screened at all and handled that 40-footer with ease. Kravchuk will fire, deflected, and there was a great chance for Liebig as he tried to redirect it. And the goaltender April got enough of that to force it over the top of the net. Ooh, dangerous centering feed there as they look for Cavanaugh. Back to the point, Kravchuk. Polar is really buzzing. Deflection try broken up, save April. Rebound, McLean at the open net, he sent it wide before April could scramble back into position. Flip back into the neutral zone. Polar Bears power play looking very, very strong here when the issue is no longer in doubt. 45 seconds left, Bowdoin holding a 9-4 lead. McLean sends it in. Higgins rams it right back out. Alan Kartner now. Away from the checking of McNeese, hits Richard right in turn, right in stride, and Brad Jenkins leveled there by his opposite number 17, Greg McLean, so that the Beacons can send it the length of the ice, and doing the honors was Larry Butner. Hirsch, now Kartner, ahead for Jenkins. Jenkins wheeling through the neutral zone, dumps it in. Paul Nelson will give chase. Met there eye-to-eye with Dave O'Connor. Boom to the backboards goes Nelson, but he comes away with it. Point for Kartner, whips one off the left post. A booming shot by Alan Kartner had April beaten, but he caught the iron. Jenkins returns for Hirsch. Back for Jenkins, and Jenkins had his feet knocked from under him by the speed of the puck. Here comes Richard right in. Richard's drive, and April goes to the stack pad to turn that away. 2 minutes exactly left to go in this one. We skate 5-on-5. The Polar Bears foiled on the power play attempt despite several outstanding chances. They don't need any more, however. Leading by 5, 9-4. Aaron Hirsch plays it ahead, gives it away. Point drive turned away by Hirsch as he stops Dave O'Connor. Ash loses, coming out here, Plaza, short side, and goaltender Hirsch again down low early to make that stop. Johansson tries to fish it out of harm's way and does. Kartner for Chin. Oh, gorgeous one touch. Here comes Mirasolo. Mirasolo laying in on the backhander. He was spun around by the hook of Larry Butner, and if it's not a 5-goal cushion, Butner gets the seat on the sin bin. Johansson will try to send in Mirasolo one more time, and having none of that is Charles Plaza. This is what they call garbage time, Mitch Price, and Mirasolo looks to add to the total. Johansson looking for the hat trick. Mirasolo on the backhander. Leaves for Chin. Chin can't get it towards goal. Mirasolo trying to do so. And Movsesian will finally move UMass back out of their own territory. Final minute to play in this one. Ray Diffley moving ahead. He's got Chin wide on the wing. 360 pass. This Brad Chin tried to find it back for Diffley. As the Polar Bears starting to get a little flashy now when they know they have this one wrapped up. Controlling now, it's Marc Bourgeois. Bourgeois racing through the neutral zone. Klapman does a great job anticipating it, steps it up, and pokes it right off his stick. The freshman certainly does not play like a first-year player. Klapman away from Bourgeois, 25 seconds away from the Polar Bears, as they will end a 2-game losing streak on home ice. And that is something you very rarely hear mentioned in Dayton Arena parts. The Polar Bears losing 2 consecutive conference games. That streak will come to an end tonight. Higgins lays through. UMass Boston just trying to escape further embarrassment. Brad Chin on the backhand, and for the 3rd time tonight, in a row, he pulls to the backhand, but he's foiled once more as the final horns down. 60 minutes of play complete here tonight in Brunswick. When we return, we'll wrap this one up. The Polar Bears, big winners tonight, 9-4 over UMass Boston. You're watching Bowdoin College Polar Bear Hockey on Casco Cable, Channel 13.
All I want is...
Brunswick Federal Savings wants to change the way you manage your checkbook with our Now Checking account. Keep a minimum balance of just $250, and you won't find a single service charge on your next statement, not one. Keep an average balance of $500 or more, and you'll earn 5.25% interest on every dollar. Open a Now Checking account today.
Here at Brunswick Federal, we have you to thank. We're proud to hear you say, yes, my friend.
Domino's Pan Pizza. Nobody delivers better.
Ray Borg delivers the hardest slap shot in hockey. Wade Boggs delivers hit after hit. Nesson delivers. The Bruins, Red Sox, and Big East basketball. College football. Women's pro tennis, boxing, more New England sports than anyone else. Nesson delivers.
Back here live now at the Bowdoin College Dayton Arena, the Polar Bears just having defeated the UMass Boston Beacons by 9-4 count. Joe Beninati alongside of Mitch Price, and Mitch, something Terry Mahar has got to be pleased about, another 9-goal count as the Polar Bears equal their season-high best.
And getting some players in the scoring column, multiple goal scorers, including Steve Cashin, Chris Delaney, and Tomas Johansson, each with 2 goals. Vin Mirasolo coming back off the illness. He missed the weekend, a goal and 3 assists. So that's exactly what the Polar Bears wanted tonight, get the offense going.
I think it's very interesting. Brad Chin has a number of opportunities, Polar Bears' leading goal scorer, but he's kept off the board, and that's exactly what he wanted to do. Actually, when we spoke to him in periods 1 and 2 in that interview, he said, we want to get some other guys going, and 3 of them come up with multiple goals tonight.
Well, the Polar Bears have been very happy with the offensive play of Brad Shinn all year, wanting to get other players in the action. Tonight they do just that. And maybe UMass Boston had seen Brad Shinn once this season and knew what to expect as far as the backhand move. They stopped him 3 times on that tonight.
If you weren't with us all game long, Terry Mahar elects to go with Bruce Wilson as his starting goaltender. Bruce gives up 3 goals, and then he gives up. Then he gets a seat on the bench in favor of Darren Hirsch, and Hirsch comes in and does a whale of a job.
Darren Hirsch only allowing 1 goal and making a number of big stops and playing with confidence. It's something that I think Terry Mahar has wanted to see from his freshman goaltender all season. And now that he's getting a little experience in a game like this, I think it's just what he needed. Get the confidence level up, and he played fantastic tonight.
So the Polar Bears improved to 9-4-1 in the conference, Mitch, and what's next for them? I know it's to the road we go.
Tough road trip for the Polar Bears. They're going to go out to upstate New York, Hamilton Friday night, Union Saturday afternoon. That's traditionally a very tough road swing for them as those 2 teams, ECAC West powers. If they can come out of that weekend in good shape, I think things look good for Bowdoin coming down the stretch run in the last month of the season.
Coming down the stretch run in the last month of the season, Mitch, I'm envious of you. I enjoy the college game just as much as I do the pros, and welcome to you and an outstanding job that you're doing in your first season, and good luck to the Polar Bears down the stretch.
Well, I think they're going to need it, and always good to see you back here in the Dayton Arena, Joe. It's great to have you here.
Okay, and for Mitch Price and Eric Van Batu and the rest of our crew here in Bowdoin College Dayton Arena tonight, I'm Joe Beninati, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time, have a good evening, everyone. You've been watching Bowdoin College Polar Bear Hockey on Casco Cable, Channel 13. Good job.